This is SalesRX by MindRx Academy. We heal, strengthen, and expand the minds of those who create and drive the economy. Let's jump into day one with Taylor McCarthy. My name is Zach Hall. I am the founder of MindRx Academy. It's my honor to host this week for you. If you've been in sales briefly, or if you've been in it for a while, raise your hand if you feel like it sometimes can be a roller coaster. Is the life of a direct sales representative a roller coaster filled with highs, deep lows as well? And it's a battle every day, and it's a battle up here in the mind. And it has become my mission and my daily obsession here with MindRx Academy to empower increased performance of the many by healing the minds of the one. I found something quite interesting in the world of sales. I've been in direct sales for over 10 years. I actually went to med school as well. And I found something interesting. When it came to direct sales, there was a very big problem. There wasn't a lot of support for the mental and emotional grind that comes with selling. Many times the things that you think about you, money, time, those beliefs are the greatest limiting factors. And so I'm honored to welcome you here today to SalesRX, where this week will be unlike anything you've experienced in the sales development space. I challenge and urge you to not just show up, but to pay attention, to take the notes, to engage with the conversation. This is a very brick by brick, step by step process. Mindset first, lower the guard, come up with the objections, solve them, and then drive urgency to act now. It is my hope within these next 4 days, we called it the 6-figure increase, that whether you're just getting started and have yet to make your first sale, or you're already at the 200, 300, $500,000 mark per year in sales, that just by attending today, you might find one thing, one tactic, one skill, one mentality shift that will create 6 figures for you or more in your income over the next year, just for attending and engaging in this week. Okay, who's excited? I'm excited. All right, let's turn our attention over to the man of the hour on day one. Sales is a mindset game. It's a performance-based thing. You have to be clear in the mentality first, and we have one of the best in the business to start us off. This guy, he's completely revolutionized the space. It's not even like he's created another industry on the industry, okay? What he's done, he's transformed more lives, closed more deals, opened more doors than possibly anyone else in the space. He's taking over the legacy of the sales legend Tom Hopkins, who wrote The Art of Selling. It is none other than your man, Knockstar U's own Taylor McCarthy. Let's go, Taylor.
All right, let's go. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
We got
testing you. 1 2, testing 1 2. I had a video, but we're gonna skip that video and we're gonna get right into the bars. You guys like bars? You guys want to get right into the nitty gritty of the mindset that it actually takes to go pro? I need to hear you guys. I need to see that you're ready. Actually, a matter of fact, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen just for a second because I want to be able to see all you guys. If you're able to turn your cameras on, it's time to stop checking your Facebook and start facing your checkbook, because this is the year you're going to make it. This is the year you're going to put your last name on your back, because decisions are going to decide your wealth. Okay, so it's time that we're going to tap in a little bit. I need you to tap in with me. Tap in, baby. Tap in. Who's tapping in with me right now? I'm looking at all your faces. I need you to tap in, and I need you to repeat after me in the same energy and the same tonality that I'm going to give you. Same energy and same tonality. Repeat after me. Here we go.
I'm alive.
I'm alive.
I feel great. And I feel great. Great.
And I feel great.
Now we're feeling some type of way. I'm going to share a lot of stories with you guys, but I want to let you guys know the purpose of today's training is not knowledge. The purpose of the training is action. So I want to let you know, not taking notes today is like eating spaghetti with a spoon. You're going to get a lot on you, but you're not going to get it in you. The whole goal of today that can help you think differently for the rest of your life. As we talk about mindset, I'm going to make it so simple for you to get inside this game that I play in between the 6-inch course from here to here. Because once you understand the way that my mind works, once you understand the way that I think, it creates words, which creates an emotion, which creates a judgment, which creates a decision. Closing is creating the decision. You see, when I knock on somebody's door, they think something. Words come out of their mouth. It creates an emotion. They feel a certain way about me. They make a judgment and they make a decision, and that's what closing is. For you guys that don't know me, I started as a professional trick-or-treater 18 years ago in 2008. I used to skip my last class of high school, and I used to sell TV, phone, and internet. I was a golf caddy before that. I started from the bottom. Starting from the bottom is not a deficit, that's a gift. Watching my dad get down to his last $20 and buy me a pack of baseball cards and not buy himself anything, allowed me to create this myopic vision of what I needed to create in my life. Let's get right into it. What is a salesperson? How would you guys define what a salesperson is? Because we're going to talk a lot about the mindset, but I want you to speak up. What is a salesperson? Somebody give me a definition of what they consider what a salesperson is.
Provide service.
Provide a service. What else?
Teacher.
What is a salesperson?
Salesperson is the person guiding the transaction from business to consumer, whatever the product is.
Great. All great answers. Now, question. If I go into the supermarket and I go down aisle 7 and I tap somebody on the shoulder and I said, hey, what do you think of salespeople? What do you think the answer is that I'm going to get?
They're scam artists. They're the greasy car salesmen, greedy people.
Annoying.
Pushy.
You know what's crazy is 96% of people don't like salespeople. Now, if I went down a different aisle and I ignored that person, and I went down aisle 9 and I tapped somebody on the shoulder and I said, hey, what do you think of door-to-door salespeople? What do you think they would say, right? Oh my gosh, door-to-door salespeople.
The worst.
Yeah, nothing but negative.
So now it's time to reverse the way that you think. Okay, I want you to completely reverse the way that you think. When we talk about mindset, I do not consider myself a salesperson. I consider myself a servant. I'm in the business of helping people get involved with a product or service or help them acquire. First off, a salesperson is somebody that can sell themselves to themselves. They have an absolute catching belief about their product, their service, their company, why they're doing it, and who they're doing it for, more importantly. I'm going to repeat that because this is so important. A salesperson is, first off, a person that can sell themselves to themselves. You see, the problem with that instruction, though, so many times is salespeople focus always on what they do wrong. They don't get a sale and they're not as contagious. They get the door slammed in their face. That's not amazing, right? Getting the door slammed in your face, not amazing. Having somebody tell you to get a real job, not amazing. Knocking in 10-degree weather, not amazing. Knocking in 110-degree weather, not amazing. But what is amazing is pretty much outlasting everybody. Spending 18 years as a professional trick-or-treater. That's why rejection turns me on. That's why I'm amused by hostile people. That's why I never see failure as failure, but only as a learning experience. That's why I never see failure as failure, but as the game that I must play to win. You see, I want to tell you a story. And before I tell you the story, I want to ask you a question. When is a salesperson more contagious than any other time? When is a salesperson the most contagious?
After a deal.
After a sale.
After a sale, right? And you're going to see me a little enthusiastic today because enthusiasm is 51% of the sales process. He who has the most energy makes the most money. But what does the average salesperson do right after they get a sale?
Go home.
Get in the car. I got one. I'll get one tomorrow. So I want to tell you this story. I'm on my way to the field. I've got 2 5-star recruits shadowing me today. They sold medical device supplies. They made 80 grand a year. They're like, oh, door to door, we're going to see how this goes. I'm self-talking myself on the way to the field. I'm driving to the field. The song by Rich Homie Quan, Some Type of Way, is playing. I got the custom Breitling, feeling some type of way. I'm feeling so good today. I'm like, we're going to absolutely smash it. I say, you guys are in the turf. The first one we go to is going to be a sale today. I pull up to the turf. I get out of the car. I say, all right, guys, let's go. This one right here, they were already talking about it. Last night, what's crazy is he was playing Fortnite and she was cooking spaghetti and she opened the utility bill and she was like, this is ridiculous. How's the bill $300 a month? Have you been playing Fortnite all night? And they got into a huge argument. I'm explaining them this story as I'm walking up the driveway and the kid goes, how do you know this information? I said, don't worry about it because IASM, I am sold myself. A salesperson is first off a person that can sell themselves to themselves. I knock on the door. I go through my presentation, you see people react to the range of my voice, the volume, the pace, the diction, even when they don't understand the words, the tonality, the body language, right? This would be ridiculous. They're getting screwed from the utility company. They're sick and tired of getting nickel and dime, and they open the door and I have this perfect presentation. Absolutely on point. My energy, my repetition, my clarity, my belief, genuinely trying to service these people. I don't get paid for sales. I do that out of a good willingness to help people. I get paid for the rejection. That's the way that I think. And I go through this presentation and the guy goes, "This is a gated community. You're not supposed to be here. No soliciting." And he slams the door in my face. And I turned to my 2 recruits and I was like, "Dude, that was nasty. We are on fire today. We are absolutely smashing it." And these kids look at me and they're like, "Bro, this kid just got rejected. The door got slammed in his face." And I said, "No, it was my problem. I got a little confused. It was this woman that got upset about her husband playing Fortnite that had the $300 bill. They would be ridiculous for them to want to not do this." And I knock on the second door and I go through my presentation. I'm on point, my range, my volume, my pace, my diction. And she goes, "There was people out here trying to sell me solar last week. We're not interested." And they slammed the door in my face. And I look at these 2 recruits and I was like, "Dude, that was nasty. We are on fire today." And these kids are like, "Bro, is this kid crazy?" And I go to the 3rd door, get the door slammed in my face, 4th, 5th, 6th door. I'm out there for maybe about an hour and a half. And I get off my 7th door, getting the door slammed in my face. And I'm like, "Bro, we are on fire today. We are absolutely crushing it." And these kids first day in door to door, they're like, "What the heck?" Get to the 8th door. I get myself a good look. I get in front of a woman. She lets me into the home. We self-gen same day the opportunity. She said, "Have you talked to Ralph across the street?" I said, "Hey, can you walk me over to Ralph?" We're walking over to Ralph's. We're in his little lanai area, and the woman across the street starts seeing, "What are we doing?" I said, "Hey guys, I'll be right back." I talked to the other woman. I said, "Hey, once I finish up with Ralph, I'll be right back over to speak with you." Now we're only about there for an hour and a half, and I get the first transaction. I had the second transaction. Now I had the third transaction. Do you see the lesson of this story is salespeople need to stop focusing on the things that they do wrong and double down on the things that they're doing right. You see, two of my favorite books I have right here. One is by a doctor. Actually, I carry this around. It's like a slick that I carry in my binder. And sometimes I'll just pull it out mid-presentation. I say, "Sir, have you ever heard of Dr. Seuss?" I don't know if you've read this one. It's called Green Eggs and Ham. I'm going to show you what happens on page 17, though. You know, he doesn't like them. "No, I do not like them, Sam I am. I would not do that. I would not do that. I would not do that." It's like my friend Chris Manizzi. He's got a song. It goes like this. "No, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. Yes." Right? And that's how sales works. That's why that rejection has to turn you on. Green Eggs and Ham, Loving the No, and Curious George, because that's one of the biggest things that I want to do is I want to create curiosity with these families that I serve. So what is a salesperson? A salesperson doesn't sell anybody anything. They're a servant. They're there to get people involved and help them acquire. And that's your first mind shift set of the day. Second thing I want to talk to you guys about is something called the practicing professional. You see, when I consider professionals, I consider athletes, dentists, doctors, lawyers. A lawyer calls their office their practice. It's the common denominator word with any professional is a practicing professional. Now, I'm going to tell you what salespeople lack compared to all the other professions. You see, if I wanted to be a doctor, I could not graduate high school and say, "Hey, I want to start performing open heart surgery." I'd have to actually go to college. I'd have to get this certificate. And after I got this certificate, after spending 8 to 10 years studying this craft, I would then have to go into something called residency. And then in residency, I'm earning pretty much minimum wage and years and years and years and years of dedicated sacrifice to get my professional contract. I want to share something with you right now. You all have your professional contract sitting right in front of you right now. But there's one thing that a salesperson lacks compared to all these other practicing professions, is that if you have the willingness to actually pay the price that it takes to be great, with effort, learning, time investment, and the dedicated sacrifice that it takes to be great. You see, practice does not make perfect, only perfect practice makes perfect. I've never worked a day in my life. I've been a professional trick-or-treater for the last 18 years. I play this game where I give away free money and I get paid thousands of dollars to do it. You see, when you overcomplicate the sales process, people get overwhelmed. When you knock on somebody's door, the anxiety's here and the certainty's down here. My goal is to shift that. Stop overcomplicating things. The way that you think. He who angers you controls you. If you've never heard that, you should write that one down. It's something I think about every single day. He who angers you controls you. Some do, some don't. So what? Someone's waiting. Sales are easy. I get to do this. I don't have to do this. We get to go and knock on doors and earn thousands of dollars to help people. Like, this isn't even a job. This is trick-or-treating professionally. I don't feel like working. I just go exercise and make friends. It's the way that you think. So the question is do you have that willingness to actually pay the price that it takes to be great? I want to break down something called the success triangle, the 3 most important things that I feel like are the most fundamentally sound things that you need as a sales professional. It starts with technique, which is the words that come out of my mouth. Your attitude, which is what you program up here, and your behavior, because what you do occasionally will change nothing every single time. If your tactics are sound, they can't fight you. You see, people don't buy from me because they understand what I say. They buy because they feel understood. Sales is the transfer of energy, but also the transference of trust. 1 or 2 things is going to happen. They're either going to transition me back onto the road or I'm going to transition into the home. The top salespeople, they shine with conviction. They have this absolute catching belief about their product, their service, their company, why they're doing it, and more importantly, who they're doing it for. A lot of you heard this question, why are you doing it? What's your why? It's a bad question. The question needs to be, who is your who? That was for me, having absolute certainty, having a myopic vision where I couldn't look left, I couldn't look right, because losing was not an option. Because I come from the McCarthy family that didn't have anything growing up. Watch my dad struggle. I said, I gotta put my last name on my back. I gotta make the plays, because you can make plays or you can make excuses, but you cannot make both. There's a lot of passion coming out, guys, right now, because I am blessed to be able to have the opportunity to even talk to you. You see, I don't have a PhD. I have a PMA, though. I had a 1.8 GPA in high school. I don't have no PhD. I have a PMA, which is a positive mental attitude. I figured out a way. When you get frustrated and you allow that to dwell, you get mad, you quit, you withdraw. How can I be creative in this situation? That's how you get better. Getting older is automatic, but getting better is not automatic. That's why you have to commit yourself to your craft. That's why you need to marry the game and make that decision right now. To give it everything you have. Your business is your gift to the world. So many people don't have the opportunity that we have, but it's just saying, hey, I'm going to dedicate myself to my craft. You see, all life is growth and contribution. You learn something and then you teach it. This is a game that we play. And the more that you look at it like a game, I thought about it. I said, what is the number 1 fundamental of a top salesperson? And it comes down to how much fun you have. If you're not having fun, it's not worth it. Every single day, I judge myself on 3 categories. Number 1 through 10, what was my effort and input? Number 2, how interesting was I in the field? If you want to get somebody interested, you must be interesting. And number 3, how much fun did I have? You see, if I have 10 out of 10 effort and input, 10 out of 10 how interesting that I was, and 10 out of 10 on how much fun I had, I'm going to transact with these families. I'm aggressive, but I'm kind. I'm assertive, but I'm nice. I'm egotistically humble. For the longest time, we've all heard ego's a bad thing. Ego's a bad thing. There's 2 types of ego. Ego drive, ego destruct. A salesperson is first off a person that can sell themselves to themselves. If I'm constantly beating myself up, focusing on what I'm doing wrong, then I'm not following that instruction. Ego drive is focusing on the things you do right. Ego destruct is when you start beating yourself down. Muhammad Ali says, I'm humble at home, but I'm not humble in the ring, because humble people rarely go places. When I've accomplished my greatest feats in my 18 years as a professional trick-or-treater, it's because I visualized what I wanted and I had the courage to verbalize it. You see, when you verbalize it, then you have to affirm what you're going to do. Affirmation without discipline is delusion. When I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to expose myself if I don't do that. You really want to be great, you really want to achieve, it starts with the desire. It starts with who is your who. You see, if I have an ardent desire, it will create the discipline. The discipline will allow me to demonstrate. The demonstration allows me to document. The documentation allows me to duplicate, and the duplication allows me to disappear and move to that next level. I'm going to run that back. Desire leads to the discipline. The discipline allows me to demonstrate. The demonstration allows me to document. Documentation is the story you have. Nobody wants to be recruited. Nobody wants to be managed. People want to be impressed, and to impress others, you have to be impressive. When I document something enough, I'm able to duplicate, and through duplication, I can disappear. You see, there's 3 people you need to find on your journey. You need to find the person you wish to emulate, the person that you wish to be like. You want to find the person you're competing with, and you want to find the person you're mentoring. You see, we have to work harder on ourselves than we do at our job because we're in the business of serving and helping people. So that's what sales is broken down to the ridiculous for me, is the art of blending these complete opposites. Attitude. Like I said, a salesperson is first off a person that can sell themselves to themselves. Why does any practicing professional spend so much money on a reception area? Because it builds belief. You see, what happens, like we talked about before, is if I'm kicking over the furniture in my reception area, I might not be contagious as I need to be. I might not have my first good look till 5 p.m. The hardest part of our job is timing. We're just looking for the time when we both have it. I need to keep my reception area perfectly clean the entire day, stay contagious, so I'm not knocking over my furniture and focusing on what I'm doing wrong, and then I get to a good look and I'm not as contagious. You see, I'm going to stop sharing the screen for a quick second, and I want to show you guys a game that Tom Hopkins showed me. It's called the Zip Zip game. A lot of you guys have a 4-digit code on your cell phone. It's time to put a 4-digit code on your mind up here. And he taught me this game. He said, when people are negative around you, Taylor, you have to play this zip zip game, and it goes like this. You get your zipper on your side and you go zip zip zip. I am now in my positive shell. I'm going to show you how that game works one more time. Zip zip zip. I am now in my positive shell. Now I want you guys to all take yourself off mute, and I want you to get your zippers ready because we're about to play this game together on 3. 1, 2, 3. Zip, 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 zip. Here's the deal. You're allowed to do that around your friends, but you are not allowed to do that around your spouse. I'm not going to have it. Oh my gosh, I learned it in a seminar today. We're getting divorced. You know, you get in a huge fight. But that's a little game that I play. People are negative around you. You need to protect that because people throughout your life will either inspire you or drain you. You see, everything you do off of the doors needs to be to get you into the groove when you're on the doors. And I love that quote. Everything that you're doing off of the doors needs to be to get you into the groove when you're on the doors. You guys remember who this guy is? Well, nodding heads. You guys remember this guy?
It's easy to talk about. It's easy to sum it up when you just talk about practice. We're sitting here
talking about practice. Practice. Here it is. You ready for the bars? Get your cameras out. Get your screenshots ready. Clarity creates conviction. Conviction creates belief. Belief creates energy. Energy creates repetition. Repetition creates service. Service creates your life's work. And your life's work creates freedom. That's what you guys are all working for, is the freedom. To be able to put your last name on your back. To be able to go to your who and say, hey, I'm putting our family name on our back, because if not you, then who? Procrastination, you ruin your future, you avoid the present, and you live in the past.
The day you turn pro is the day you realize that attitude in selling is everything. Attitude is something you must build within yourself. You see, the most important thing you've got every day is your enthusiasm, your excitement for the job that you do in serving people. People will say yes to you more on your conviction, your excitement, your enthusiasm than anything else. And if you don't have it in here, you can't transmit it out there.
They drill, they rehearse. How often do you sit in front of a mirror and give your presentation and they laugh? Yet you studied so hard to pass an exam to avoid an F to impress your parents. What we're giving you is material that will impress everybody because of your income. Give them the best. They'll thank you in the years ahead. That I can promise.
And I wanted to share that video with you, and I get emotional thinking about it sometimes, but that's one of the greatest things that's ever happened to me. People ask me what the greatest sale I've ever made. The greatest sale I've ever made was making the decision to become a professional salesperson. One of the greatest things that's ever happened to me was finding a mentor like Tom Hopkins, somebody that I wish to emulate, somebody that sets the bar. 99% of people don't do door-to-door sales because 99% of people could not handle it. We're the only creatures that face rejection on a day-to-day basis. basis. You can make plays or you can make excuses, but you can't make both. And I'm super excited, you know, to be able to have the opportunity to have shared the time that we have together today. So thank you so much for the time, Zach. I hope I was able to give you guys one nugget today to help you think differently on your mindset and the way you think as a professional trick-or-treater.
That's it. That's beautiful, man. Hey, fire here for Taylor McCarthy. Felt the passion all over the whole country.
Cool. I had a question for you, Taylor McCarthy. How do you create a fire in a new rep? For example, you have new reps coming in. How do you get them to see the vision, and how do you get them to push harder when you believe more in them and they believe in themselves? So how do you get them to flip that switch?
Great question. So two of the greatest motivators above money, above recognition, all that is the need to be challenged and the need to reach that next level of comfort. They're called the 2 C's, the biggest challenge and the biggest comfort. And the two biggest demotivators is boredom and burnout. What I do is when I have a file on each one of my sales reps, right? I've been doing this for 18 years. I have them tell me their why, have them tell me who is their who. If somebody tells me that it's important to pay off their mom's mortgage and then 3 weeks into it, they start becoming interested when they need to be committed, or they're the strobe light when they need to be the laser beam. A strobe light enters the selling zone, exits the selling zone, enters and exits. Something that I say is like, hey, I'm strobe light and I got to be the laser beam. The most important question you need to get with that sales rep is who is your who? Because vulnerability is the birthplace to innovation. When somebody verbalizes who they're who and who they're doing it for, it's more than money at that point. And I think that's a question that every one of you needs to ask yourself is who is your who? It's not based on your goals, it's based on their goals.
Fire, thank you.
Who asked the question? What was your name?
Edgar.
Edgar. I appreciate the question. I loved it as well. And training and developing has been my total passion. This is one of the hardest things. You heard from the mindset of a true professional. This guy, Taylor, does not just knock doors. He is a professional trick-or-treater. You heard the mindset. And much of it, in my experience, has been there are amazing people to learn from. They have their mindset. And I want to clarify a little bit about what mindset is as we finish this up today. Because it's one thing to hear it. It's another thing to feel it so that you drive into action with it. And many of what you might have heard today might have landed flat. You might have said, hey, that sounds great. I love that. That's a bar. That's fire. And then you go to work and you get the rejection and you get the fall through, the canceled deal, whatever it might be, and it takes you out of state, out of that zone. It might mean that you're not believing it at a deeper level. So what I love what Taylor said is he asks the questions of his reps so that he can call upon the things that they said they wanted, the freedom they're working into, in order to relight that fire to help them persist long enough to see the success. There's always victory in persistence. It'll always show true. But for any of you that might have said, wow, that sounds great, but I didn't emotionally resonate with it, find any idea, anything that Taylor said or that you hear from great leaders in the space who are speaking their mindset, speaking their beliefs. If it's not being accepted emotionally, this is just a little tidbit trick I found. If you do not have an emotional reaction to the idea, it means subconsciously you're not accepting it, and therefore you will not act on it. Sounds good up here, but deep down you're not going to act on it. So we have to find the mindset, the thought that drives our feeling into action that we accept at a deeper level. Maybe it's something he said, maybe it's something you have to figure out for yourself. We're here to help you do that as we go forward.
And one other thing, Zach, is a lot of the time you guys need to commit now and figure it out later, because risk is the down payment for success. You can get stuck in thought all the time, but if you make the commitment now and say, hey, I'm not interested, I'm committed, I'm going to commit now and I'm going to figure it out later, because the risk is the down payment for success.
Love it. 100%. This is just day one. We'll see you tomorrow, same time. Ashton Buswell, teaching and live role playing. Be prepared to actually come on board and role play to help learn how to lower the guard, interrupt the pattern of what's going in the prospect's head, of what they think about salespeople, so that they can see you as someone who can help them. Therefore, they start to listen. Now we can progress that sale forward. So that's coming tomorrow. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Wonderful. Hey, Taylor, thanks so much. That was fire. Day 2. Ashton Buswell and Alex Reynoso. Super excited to be with you all today. Very exciting guest as part of this SalesRX experience. Before we get to him in a minute, I wanted to clarify something from yesterday. Okay, yesterday was fire. If you got something from yesterday, put it in the chat. I got something. I won yesterday. I grew yesterday. Throw it down in there. Taylor McCarthy started the week off. And I have a question for you. So I want to clarify before we get into today. What comes first, right? What comes first, the skill set or the mindset? You hear this question asked a lot. I've been hearing it more and more. What comes first, do you think? Skill set or mindset? Okay, with the people here, we got our heads on right. Even Ashton Buswell says mindset. That's why we started this week with mindset. Listen, there is a mindset required to develop a skill set. Mindset comes first. You act out of what you think. What you think becomes your reality. We've heard this, and you can actually prove it. I work with people one-to-one, and I can show them how their actual thinking, their story that they're telling themselves is creating their current reality. We have a process to break that down and help people see that, which is why we started this week with mindset. Yesterday, Taylor spewed fire and shared his mindset, a mindset that has helped him revolutionize the space specifically for solar, but really for direct sales as well. And it's helpful. It's helpful to hear mindsets and thought processes of people who are winning so that we might adopt it. But tell me if you've ever struggled with this. You've heard from a leader. You've even spoken it yourself, like, yeah, you just have to knock the doors, or yeah, it's just a loss. Some will, some won't, so what? And you're going to go forward. And yet you have a daily battle with yourself trying to adopt that thinking, trying to live into that mentality. I've seen it time and time again. It's one thing to hear it. It's another thing to believe it so that you act on it. And this is what I wanted to clarify with yesterday. Find the idea that resonates with you. If I think something and I emotionally connect with it and move me into action, then the fruit of that thought, I'll say again, the fruit of that thought, the evidence, the result that comes from that thinking, that idea, is one that serves me. And I want you to check with yourself right now. And what I'm thinking? Is the story I'm buying into about my career, about my position, about my product, about my service, about the opportunity? Is it serving me, or am I telling myself a story that puts me into a negative state and causes me to fall short on my potential? This is why mindset is first. I wanted that to be very clear. And if you're having issues or struggle adopting the behaviors, the mindsets of these top performers, it is a story issue. And we will not believe a new way of thinking until we have proven the old way false. Now, if your mindset is ready, then we're going to work on the skill set. Let me ask you this question. I'm going to tag and pin our guest trainer here for today. He is Mr. 28 Plus, one of the best in the business. What I love about Ashton is he's not just dominant in the sales space. You look at him and you realize the guy's shredded as well. Physically, he's winning. There it is. See that? But not just that. You look at, if you get to know him, he is a family man. He is a father. He is a leader of not just people, but of the family unit, which I think is the most fundamentally important unit in society. And he moves people. He inspires. And so not only does he dominate in the sales space, but I think he does it the right way, which is why I've asked him to be a part of this. And what we're going to be talking about today is something that you all encounter, something that you'll experience on a frequent basis in sales. Ashton, you're the lead now. Thank you for being here for us.
I'm excited to be here. I freaking see a Gila monster right here, and I didn't know he was going to be here. Shoot, dog.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited to do some training today.
Okay, cool. Ashton, here's the question I have for you to get this thing started. And I'll actually ask this for everyone. Feel free to put it in the chat. Oh, go ahead.
Wait. So actually, before you ask the question, can you tell everybody what we're talking about today?
The topic for today is lowering resistance. What is the most important part of a sales process? What do you feel is the most important part of the sales process? Put that in the chat. What do you think? What I have found is a sale, whether it's off the initial approach or even in an appointment, the sale is made or lost really in those first 5 to 10 minutes, or on a door approach, first 5 to 10 seconds. It is how we start the interaction that matters. It's typically because much of sales happens where you're communicating in a way that the person is not even listening to you because they're still resistant to what you're doing. So that's why today is starting with lowering resistance. Ashton, let me put you back on here.
So everyone here, the way that you win and the way that you get through resistance, sales resistance, is you be a human being. Zach's got a whole bunch of questions that we're going to go through, but the statement is being a human, not a robot. We get trained all these things to say, not to say, all of that stuff. But it's all about being a human being your authentic self. That's all I got.
I love it. I love it. If you get nothing else from today, be human. So much of it is about being different. So let's jump into it here then, Ashton. What is, in your mind, what is sales resistance, and where do you think it comes from? Oh, where'd he go? Hold on, did we just lose him? I'm gonna say Ashton.
I didn't hear what you're asked. I was trying to have dramatic effect. I left the chat. It's over. It's done. You got to be you. You got to be human. And I bounced. And I don't know if you're like, wait, where did he go, or what?
You don't need anymore. That's all it is. You don't need anymore. Okay.
In order to win in the sales resistance is people have there's preconceived notions of what salespeople are and do. They're trying to sell me something I don't want. They're trying to sell something that's in their best interest, not my best interest. They're maybe they've had a bad experience, or maybe their mom or dad's had bad experience. So there's natural resistance to salespeople, which is unfortunate because we all need to buy things, but we don't want to be sold things. So there's a resistance against, like, what is this guy really? What's his real motives? Okay, and so having being a human being and not a robot is going to be the way that you can get through all these preconceived notions, because people like to interact with humans. They like to have good experiences with human beings. I like it when somebody comes up to me and is like, hey, you look great today, or hey, you're a nice person, or wow, that's a nice smile, or whatever it may be. I love that. And as salespeople, we need more of that. Sorry, I was trying to get some dramatic effect, Zach, by dropping the mic and leaving the chat. But I'm back. We can go to your questions now.
It was like a magician. It was like, wait, what's happening? Which totally interrupted our pattern, by the way. So super good. No, and I think that's exactly right. I think it comes from just being sold to more than ever before. And so the cure for it, like you said, is really just to be you. How many people are you? How many others of you are there in the world? If you allow yourself, rather than trying to learn this or that, or like this robotic, this works approach, if you just be you, you're authentic, you're going to find your people, and that oftentimes is all you need to break the resistance. And I love how you said, Ashton, that it's not like they don't want to interact, right? Like human beings like to interact with people. So we're getting this kind of emotional wall, not because they don't want to interact with us, but because of the idea of the sale itself, right? Would you attempt then a sales conversation still if that wall hadn't been lowered? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, yes and no. If I'm there and if I'm in an appointment or I'm at a door and I've just got this massive wall of sales resistance that I'm trying to break through, I'm not going to be like, okay, well, it's not working today, and leave. I'm going to try to reconnect and break down that resistance, break down that wall in some way, right? If there's some of the fastest ways to get into be human and then establish trust. If we can build some relationship of trust in some way, then that wall will come down. So I won't go for the close. I want to ask my closing question if there's a crazy amount of sales resistance. I won't even really ask for the appointment if I'm at a door until I know that they're in a place where that wall's come down and now they're willing to accept me as a human and for something that I'm gonna then ask them to do.
Okay, and I'm with you on that. I think it's something that we see usually earlier on in the sales career, that you're just trying to get your approach out, you're just trying to get the pitch, the offer, or whatever, and you almost program yourself to do it whether there's resistance or not. And so that was why we wanted this to be really the first question to think about: does it serve you? Does it serve the customer to continue a sales process if the resistance is still there?
Yeah, you got to stop whatever again, on the door, your talk tracks, your pitch, you gotta stop you and be like, hold up, I'm not getting anywhere here. How can I connect with this person? How can I be human with this person? How can we have some sort of positive interaction together? Because if we can do that, then they'll hear what I'm trying to say. But if their wall is way up, they're not going going to hear anything I'm trying to say. If you ask somebody that has major sales resistance, again, think about you. You go to a car lot and you really want the car. Like, this is the car that you want. And somebody comes and tries to hard close you. Like, hey man, I'm going to sell you this right now. Let's do this. Let's sign you up. And you're like, bro, who are you? Who are you to say you're going to close me right now, man? Like, nah. You know, I want to go check out some other cars, versus somebody coming up and be like, wow, that's a really nice car. What do you think about the car? And, oh yeah, my aunt had a car, and start telling some stories and connecting in some way about the car. And have you looked at it up? Oh, you've already done that. Awesome. Well, I trust that you've done your research, right? Or whatever the case may be. If the sales resistance is up and somebody asks for their close, the automatic answer is no.
Yeah.
So you might as well not ask for any business until you've got that wall down.
And I love how you highlighted that, like, it could even be something that you want. I mean, think about your product. We have a lot of people in here in solar. I know you do solar. I did solar. I know there's roofers in here and some other products as well. Like, it doesn't matter how much they actually might need or want the thing. If they think, oh, I'm being sold, then they stop listening. You stop listening. I put on their shoes, right? Like, you stop listening. So why would you expect them to listen to you if all you're doing is pitching as opposed to like trying to communicate and open up? Is there something that like you look for? Like, how do you know whether someone is still expressing resistance or if the guard has come down at least low enough to proceed in the sales process?
The body language of what my friend would interact. Somebody just nailed it right as I was saying it. The body language of what they again, I'm trying to interact with all these people like they're my friends. Like, we're buddies, and we're maybe not besties, but we're friends, and we can talk like friends can talk. My tone of voice is a friend tone of voice. My body language is a friend kind of voice. Like, hey man, what's up? How are you doing? Right? We're friends. And if there's sales resistance, so I don't know if anybody's had this happen before, but I would be like, hey man, how's it going? And I go for a high five, and they give me nothing. I don't know if that's happened to anybody. What does that automatically tell me? They're not into it. Well done. Right? And I'll be like, oh, okay. So what I'm doing is I'll give myself a high five so I'm not left hanging. That body language, how they're talking, their tone. Like, what do you want, dude? You don't talk to your friend like that. I mean, unless they're being a punk to you, but the body language, the tone, when they soften up, when I give a 5 and they give a 5 back, cool, we can have a conversation, right? We've now connected in that way. And so that's the main way. If they're like, folded, mad expression, and then they start to open up and they're like, so what is this? And they lean in, right? I can tell if they're more engaged when their body language is telling me so.
Yeah, no, I really like that. Do you go for the high five pretty early on?
Just depends on the situation.
Oh, okay. It's a react thing.
Dude, love your shirt, bro. Killer shirt. Right out the gate, maybe.
Yeah.
Right? And
so something you see that like, I actually like, it's genuine. It doesn't sound like you're trying to force it.
Right.
In terms of energy, everything is energy, everyone. Like, what you put out, you get back. And that's what he's testing here for. But if you're not genuine, and I'm like, hey, I love this shirt, it's almost like they can pick up. We've been trained so well now, we can pick up when someone's actually not being authentic. Like, do you like this shirt? If you're looking for the paraverbal, like the non-verbal type communication, really the tonality in what they express. And that I think is very obvious on the door, right? At the beginning of a sales call even. What about in the home? Do you see people express it differently in the home, a different body language, that they're still being resistant?
Yeah, still, I mean, I think it's actually a little easier standing up than it is when people are sitting down.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, so when they're standing up, I can tell a little bit quicker, a little easier if when their walls have come down, when we've connected, right? If I was a self-gen guy and I was knocking on the door and I had that connection already, I likely need to build that connection with the spouse when I come back, right? And remind the one that I talked to, like, why we were buddies and the connection that we had, and pull in the spouse into that. So if I'm coming in a setter and set the lead, then I need to reestablish some of the conversation that they had, right?
Yeah.
They had enough of a conversation that they were willing to have the appointment. So I need to kind of reignite that, and reignite that there was some trust and there was some empathy and whatever around that conversation, and then build a quick bond so that I connected with them. And a lot of that is trust, right? And stories is a great way to quickly connect with people and build some trust. And it doesn't have to be around like, hey, you should listen to me. I've set up 1,000 people with solar, right? Like I could say that. That doesn't really mean, is that big or is that little to somebody? Maybe somebody that has no clue what that is, they may be like, oh wow, that's not even 10,000, dude. Right? Like they may not know. To me, that's a big deal. To them, they may not know. So it isn't necessarily around the credibility and the trust of like what you're talking about, but oh, you got kids? Oh, I got kids. Oh, awesome. How old are your kids? Cool. What things are your kids into? My kids are into these things. And, oh man, we had this, and now we're connecting, building trust, not even talking about the product that I'm selling.
Yeah, I've actually found that 100%. What I kind of teach for people is I imagine this, like right now, everyone on this call, think of a time where you felt totally understood by someone. What is the emotion you get when you have the idea that like this person gets me? Like, what's the emotion you get when that thought crosses? I just meet this stranger, but I'm like, wow, they get me. Like they get me, they understand me. What do you feel? Yeah, Brendan, relief. That's where trust comes from. It's a thought process. And it doesn't have to be like, wow, they know what they're doing. That might make you feel respect or something, but it's not necessarily the trust. I think trust comes from more of an understanding, a connection type thing, which doesn't have to be like, yeah, we've done this many. Which, by the way, is super good news for all the people on this call that don't have 1,000 installs, which I think is most of the people on the call. Like, maybe it's not 10,000, but I think most of us probably don't have 1,000. You don't have to have 1,000 to earn trust and credibility off the bat on the door. Super good. You mentioned like there are ways that you'll not only notice it, but then humanize yourself or establish that trust off the bat to call it out, right? I just want to share what I look for just as a tactical thing. I try to set up my door approach so that I have a test, almost like a litmus test, where if I do this action, kind of like your high five, and they don't give it back. So the high five is one. Another one is when I approach the door, do they come out? So I start further back, and if it's like, hey, it's easier if I just show you, and I go to move in, and they don't come out to meet me, that's my alert. Hey, I've still got resistance here. I should call this out before I move forward. Versus if they come out to meet me, I know, okay, thought pattern interrupt. They're curious. Now I'm at an emotional state where I can have an open communication versus like an emotional state where they're not going to process what I'm saying.
Yeah, I love that. I love it. You're reciprocating, right? You've got some reciprocity. I'm coming in. I've got something to show you. And as a friend, I'd be like, oh, what is it? Show me. What is it? And as somebody with resistance, I'm like, I'm not interested in that.
Which would be a red flag. I now need to stop my conversation, stop my sales process and be like, I bet you get this a lot. This is probably super annoying. I would hate it too. It's actually really important though, is now a bad time. I'm going to like redirect it to try to establish that the resistance can be lowered before I start. Let's say you get met with that, right? You get met with the resistance, you go for the high five, it's not coming back. How then do you effectively lower the resistance, or do you do things preemptively to get the resistance lowered so that you can have a fair and open sales conversation?
So it's super simple, and you're going to be like, that's got to be more than that. But here it is. You guys ready?
Usually is small and simple. So love it. Let's go.
Oh, that's it. I did it.
No,
yeah. It was like this.
Waiting for it.
Did you see it? Listen, when I smile at people, all of you just smiled. All the people that have cameras on just smiled at me. Why did you smile at me? Why aren't you mad at me right now?
It'd be awkward not to smile at you.
Yeah, it'd be kind of awkward not to smile. This guy's doing this big cheese ball, right? And if you don't smile back at that, then that's kind of like a weird human thing to do. Like I know that there's some resistance here, but this guy's smiling at me. I'm gonna smile at him, right? So a way that I try to connect quickly is a smile. Super simple, but the most powerful tool to bring down resistance with anyone. You go into a negotiation that's a tough negotiation, smile at them. They're going to smile back. You go into a close, you're not sure how it's going to go, make sure you have a big, cheesy, juicy smile on your face, okay? when you go in because they're going to smile back at you. Then what I try to use humor. The way that I try to bring down that wall quickly is to crack jokes about myself, make funnies about whatever is going on in the neighborhood, right? Dude, you got any Karens on your street? Because I've met a few Karen. I mean, I don't know that their name is Karen, and my aunt's Karen, and she's super lovely. But you know what I'm talking about, right? Oh yeah, we do. We got right. And I try to make funnies, because if I can connect with somebody in a humor way, like I again don't know anybody that when they're laughing that they're actually still mad about something.
Yeah. Well, this is what we want to understand. We said mindsets first. The way a mindset works, it's the accumulation of our thought, feeling, and action. That's totally like in definition of mindsets. It's the part of the mind, is part of the whole body. It's what I think, feel, and act. There can only be one actor on the stage at a time. So why this is so important is if you're getting someone laughing, what they're feeling is laughter. They're feeling the emotion of humor. They're feeling the emotion of fun. That means the emotion of resistance has been replaced. So if I'm feeling curious, then the emotion of resistance has been replaced. There can only be one actor on the stage of their mind at one time. So that's what we're going for here, is something that can make it different. So that's why it's so important that it's not this robotic approach that you do the same thing every single time necessarily, or more important, that everyone else does. It's so funny in a market when you're in a sales team, all of you approach the door and your first 5-10 seconds are the same way. If that is, then you're training your group to have resistance. You're training your market to be resistant to your approach. Over time, that's what happens. Think of like bacteria, right? We use antibiotics and bacteria. Has anyone ever received antibiotics for something? What's the number one rule the doctor tells you when you get antibiotics?
This is Dr. Zach coming through.
Yeah. I went to med school, guys. I went to med school. This is legit. This is actual med school knowledge. Number one thing. What?
You gotta take them all.
That's right. Is that Vic?
Yep.
What's up, Vic? Yes, you take them all. If you do not, you start feeling better on day 8 of 10 and you don't finish the antibiotics, there are some bacteria still alive. And now they've learned how to fight the antibiotic. And the ones that replicate off of the live bacteria are now resistant to your treatment. You go get the same antibiotic, it's not going to work. It won't kill them, and you'll remain sick. And it's the same thing with our salespeople and the prospects that we have. Everyone's been trained to do like this approach, and if you do it that same way, you're using the thing that used to kill. Now it won't kill. Does that make sense? Because now it's just trained resistance in the target audience, just like antibiotics train resistance in bacteria. Hopefully, for any science geeks, maybe that's the analogy that really hits home. Would you like to see live demonstration of this? I think this is what everyone came for.
Can I add just a couple things? So
please.
Again, it's very simple things that you probably already do, but just in case you don't, when you're texting with people, use emojis. And if you can find a way to send a GIF, GIF, some say it's a GIF, some say it's a GIF, whatever you want to call it. Find ways to send those to people that are, again, funny and good and uplifting. They're going to move your prospect forward and make you connect as a human. If you're just a robot, if you're just texting back, no emotion, no whatever, then it's less human than human. With my friends, with my family, with my wife, I'm sending funny things, and we're connecting about like this funny gift, that this is the feeling that I get when we're having this conversation about this thing. If I can send that to somebody, the faster I can send somebody a gift, the faster and the better my close and my overall sales experience is.
Really?
I haven't proven it by data, but I'll give you a quick funny one. I was on a group chat. I had sold this family. I was on a group chat with the wife and the husband, and the wife says, "I think I just overdosed on Girl Scout cookies," on the group chat. Right? And the husband responds back, they don't realize I'm on the group chat. I send this really funny GIF about Girl Scout cookies, and she's embarrassed beyond anything. I find a box of Girl Scout cookies. I send it to her.
That's next level.
There's no way that this isn't going to install, because we've connected off of a little mistake, right? Of her thinking that she was just talking to her husband. Oh yeah, and his response was like, "Baby, we got the treadmill for Christmas. You're good," something like that.
Well, that's so good too, Ashton. I hope everyone catches this, because we talked about mindset before skill set. Someone like a salesperson is going to look at that like, wow, what skill, to take opportunistic approach to that. But understand, Ashton's mindset from the beginning is about being friendly and being himself. Cheesy smile. Go for high five, right? That might not work for everyone, but it's him. He's being himself. He's being human, which makes him think Girl Scout, boom, emoji, right? Like, let me be friendly here. Mindset comes before. He doesn't have to think about the skill because he's adopted the mindset of a friend first. And clearly that's worked pretty well. You brought up text messages too. Since you brought that up, listen, you guys ever feel resistance reading a text message? This is actually super important because so much selling is happening over text now. You can win jobs over text, or you can blow them. Sold a job and sent him Valentine's Day Batman meme because he loves Batman. He's getting installed soon. Hey, nice job, Lucas. Love it. Let me tell you, if you see this, okay, this is a text message I received from someone trying to sell me something, all right? What do you think I felt?
Sales resistance.
Yeah, it's so long. And did I read it? Listen, I try to be as respectful as possible. Exactly, Lucas. I'm not reading that. It is way too long. So here's another little tidbit for you in terms of the new age of selling, which is very much text-based. Watch my responses. Notice what you see about my response.
Short spaces between.
Yeah, never more than 3 lines. This is a little psychological thing, but I will always separate my text messages. If it goes 3 lines long, I've said too much. That means I've made it too complex. I need to simplify to 3 lines, space it out to get my next idea out. Let that be a little clarifier for you, because when you send a message, it could be equally long. I've literally done this to people, and I'm like, what if I told you your message back and I broke it up like this? Do you feel like you'll read it? I know someone's laughing right now because I've done this to them on the call. Yeah, she's messaging it. Lauren, thanks for calling it out. I did this to Lauren, and she's like, wow, I would actually read that now. Simple little thing, but we're talking about emotions. And if the thought process is like, that's too long, I feel resistant to the act of reading it. And obviously that important information is there. So you got to space that out, make it more interactive. All right, we're going to do some live role play. I'll be homeowner, Ashton. You be sales rep. And I want everyone to put yourself in the perspective of the homeowner at this case. Don't try to be a sales rep right now. So much of this is learning to see yourself in the mind of the person you're communicating with, not the mind of who you are. You already have that person. We want to start seeing ourselves in the way that we're communicating to who we're communicating to, so that we can see if we would also feel resistance. Does that make sense? Okay, Ashton, go ahead and you knock on the door.
Knock, 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 knock.
Can I help you?
Hey man, how's it going?
Sorry, what do you need?
Sorry. Real quick, my name's Ashton. I'm working on the power project. Some people know about it, others don't. Do you know anything about it at all?
Are you talking about solar?
Oh, you guys get hit up from people trying to sell you panels all the time, right? Like pay cash or do like a lease or something for panels, right?
Yeah, they come by a lot.
Yeah, dude, and tell me about this M. What is this? You got like these circle and these M's. What is that all about? Is that an M?
My merch? You like my merch?
Yeah, what's that all about? You guys are like matching. What is that all about?
It's my company, actually. It's a company that I have.
What's your company? What do you do?
It's MindRx Academy.
MindRx?
Yeah, like treatment for the mind. Pretty cool. Yeah, just talk about.
Do I need some MindRx? Probably, right?
Maybe. All right, quick pause. Okay, what are you as a homeowner? Put it in the chat. What were some of the thoughts or emotions that went through your head as he did his approach? Try to think of, like, from the mind of the homeowner. What are some of the thoughts you thought? What are the feelings you had? Feelings are one word. Authentic. Yeah, I think he nailed that. Ashton is himself. Guy's genuine. I like how he got interested, right? If you were interested, you're interesting. Ask me about my thing. That's a grave one.
Forgot the lesson. A human. And he said, LOL. A human. That's it.
That's right.
That's what you gotta be. You gotta be a human. Everybody else got the other one too. Authentic, genuine. Those are human too, right? But
human. So you're getting your message across, but you're doing it in a human way. And even I gave you, notice we talked about like whether there was resistance in calling it out. What did Ashton do? And even I gave you, notice we talked about like whether there was resistance in calling it out. What did Ashton do? Sorry, what did he recognize in me?
He noticed that you have matching apparel.
Okay. Before he called that out. Yeah, I gave him some resistance. What was the resistance I gave him? I was like,
you've been through this before. You've heard the process. You're solar.
Yeah, so I guess those power projects. Are you talking? You're talking about the solar, aren't you?
Yeah.
And what did he do?
Instantly diverted.
Yeah. Well, he called out what I would probably be thinking. This is what's so important. It wasn't just to like let me deflect and get off of this. It was, oh, You get hit up a ton by this. You've probably been through the ringer. They're trying to sell you cash or some kind of PPA thing. Is that right? And it's like tone got down. And then when we agreed there, then to lower the resistance, then he saw my M's.
Did you guys see that Zach gave me a little bit of resistance even before that? Did you guys see it? And did you see what I did? What happened before that? Anybody else catch that?
Like with your opening statement, you said, "Hey, how are you?" And he didn't even answer. He just said, "What do you need?"
Yes. So I've got my binder, and he says, "How you doing?" And I kind of stalled a little bit, and I was just like, "Oh, hey man, how's it going?" And immediately the tone was like, "What is this, man? What do you need?" Right? Immediately. Yep. And I laughed. Did you catch that?
Man, you guys must get knocked up a lot.
So I laughed like, "Oh, my bad," right? Like that, what I was portraying, the tone and the body language that I gave back to that was like, "Oh, my bad," right? Sorry, that's on me, right? And so I was like, "Oh, well, what I'm doing is," and then I continued on, but I brought a little bit of a smile back to his resistance instead of pushing back on the resistance. I was like, "Oh, sorry." Well, it wasn't that much of a laugh, but it was a little tiny laugh. That was another way for me to then try to bring down some resistance of like, "Oh, that's on me." And then he brought up some more resistance, and then I brought that down again, and then we connected, right? But he gave me that right away. The very first, we get that tone a lot, right? We get that tone a lot of like, "What is this? What do you need? Who are you?" Oh, well, what I'm doing is just that little. What I'm doing is with a big fat smile on my face the whole time, right?
Nailed it. Yeah, and then my next resistance came out. It was still there, and so then he called it out, lowered the tone, and then he got interested in me, which it's hard not to talk about something that I love, and I love this. So that one for sure. Nice job. Zoom user has a hand to raise. Go ahead and unmute. What's your name?
Yeah, I don't know why it's like that, but my name's David Buckner. I work for Legacy as well. Okay. But Ashton, I have a question for you, and it might sound corny as hell, but what is what is your way to keep yourself like positive and like your way to like smile? Like, what if hypothetically you had a bad interaction and then you try to do this on the next door and like you couldn't get that smile out? Like, are you just always kind of like, picking on something that they wear or something maybe in their driveway or the car they drive, like necessarily? Like, what is it that you just kind of keep you happy that where you can just do that naturally? Yeah.
So I wrote down. So I believe that you're always supposed to be learning. So these are my notes from today from things that Zach has talked about. And one of the things that he said that I was like I really liked was that he talked about the mentality. He's like, I don't know if you guys caught Ashton's automatic mindset. His automatic mindset is that he's trying to be a friend. That's what he wrote down. And that's cool for me to hear that reflected back to me. I've never thought about that as my automatic mindset, but that's totally true. So my automatic mindset to get me to smile again is that I'm just trying to go make more friends. Well, that could be hard. That's like pretty simplistic. But the other way that I get back to that smile is that I believe every single thing that happens to us, happens for us, happens whatever, however you look at it, every single time that something happens, we have a choice. We get to choose how we go about that thing next. Mm-hmm. It's in a split second. We can choose to just be down on it, to say my life sucks, this is horrible, I hate my life, I hate my job, or we can choose to forget about that was a one-off, and smile again. That's as simple as it comes. And maybe my automatic mindset is to be a friend, but it's also a choice. I would rather live my life. I choose to live my life in a happy state. I think it's better than in a not happy state.
Locus of control, I feel like, is what you can put there. Just locus of control.
Between, Viktor Frankl said, in between stimulus and response is a space. And in that space is the story, essentially, that we can tell about what's happening. Here's the stimulus. I call it circumstance, thought, and belief action. So if we're thinking of the action as the response, okay, our emotion is driving that action. Happiness is an emotion. So there's a thought process I have about being told no, being rejected, knocking in the rain, the 10th no in a row. There's a thought process, a story that I'm choosing that's putting me in emotion, that's causing me to lose my happiness. If I take control of that thought process and say, this is a choice I'm making, that this isn't for me, that this sucks, that woe is me, that's a thought process. The hard part is, and this is what I love doing what I do, is what the M's all about. The thought process is typically unaware. We're most likely unaware of what thought is ruining that process within us and causing us to act out of a poor state. Whereas what Ashton has done, and this is taken time, I'm sure, for you, Ashton, if I would guess, to develop the mindset now automatically to moving on and taking happiness to like not letting it affect you. That's probably taken some time, but it was a conscious choice first. He first thought, I'm just going to make friends. I'm going to go help people. And he thought that over and over and over again until now, whatever the stimulus is, he has that happen automatically, and he's able to take happiness to the next door and the next door. If I were to, would I be off on that?
Amen. Yep, nailed it.
That's fire. That's fire.
That reminds me when Taylor McCarthy is like, oh, rejection turns me on. And he gets like the 4th no, and he's like, oh my God, I'm on fire.
Fire! We're on fire. He had been convincing himself at first. I guarantee you, everyone. That's why he said the most important sale is the one to yourself, right? At first, I guarantee you his sales career didn't start with that thought process. He decided to adopt it. He built that belief system in so that he could act out of it on a more frequent basis, regardless of what the external circumstance is, regardless of the stimulus, regardless of the weather, right? So important, which is why mindset comes first. And it's why I love what I do, is helping people not only find the mindset to think, but learn how to build that belief automatically within them. That's the thought process. That's the type of work that I do on a daily basis. More about that final day. Let's do another role play. Ashton, will you be my homeowner? All right, so we're walking into the home. We're walking into the home. So important, what Ashton talked about earlier, is that you reconnect either the spouse or whoever it is to you now, whether it was from you before that set the door or from someone else. I'll go ahead and do it as if it was me setting the door. So walking into your house. Ashton, appreciate it. You have a place, I guess, for us to sit down?
Oh, you want to sit down? Yeah, sure. I guess we can go.
We don't have to. I get tired standing. I don't know about you.
No. Yeah, sure. I mean, how long is this going to take?
Yeah, it's a great question. It kind of depends on where you're at now. Like, you know, in terms of what your electricity bills have been, kind of where they're headed compared to what you'd like to get it down to, and what questions you might have. Do you know about like what kind of questions you would want answered for this?
I mean, I kind of just want to know what the price is and...
Yeah, just get like straight to it.
Yeah, we've talked with other people and stuff. I'm just curious what the price is.
Oh, you have? Well, you got me curious then, Ashton. Like, what made you, I guess, intrigued about meeting with us now if you've already talked to so many?
My wife set up the appointment.
Oh, no way, really?
But it's all good. Yeah, I mean.
Okay.
Here.
Okay, hey.
I'm curious to hear what your number is.
Yeah, did she talk to you about why she said it again then, or?
She's wanted solar more than I've wanted solar.
Okay. I appreciate you telling me up front. I don't want to waste any time. Like, are you like totally against the idea, or?
No, that's why I'm still here.
Okay, cool. Well, why don't we do this? We don't have to sit down. It's just more comfortable. But what we could do really quick is find out where you've been so far with your bills, and then kind of compare it to what you'd like to get out of it. Now, I imagine since your wife is more inclined to it, is she going to join us too, or?
Yeah. Come on. Yeah, sure.
All right, let's go do this.
Yeah.
All right, quick pause. What were takeaways?
I like Zach. I like how you were willing to, like, you weren't like hardballing him. Like, oh yeah, no, we have to sit down. Like, you're just very super easy going. Like, well, I mean, we don't have to. Threw a little bit of humor in there. It's just a little bit more comfortable. I don't know about you. You know, like, just humanize yourself. So I thought that was huge.
Cool. Yeah, I like to sit down. I don't like standing very long. I don't know about you. But again, it wasn't like, yeah, we have to sit down. I'm not trying to take ownership of his house. I think that's a play that some people make, but it's not me. And I'm going to be me, and I'm going to agree first. He could be like, wait, you want to sit down? I saw that, by the way. That's resistance. I'm now knowing, okay, he's pretty resistant to this. I've got some information to find out. So I need to diffuse the bomb first. So let me agree with him. Yeah, we don't have to sit down. It's just I enjoy sitting as opposed to standing. What about you?
The curiosity tone, and then even saying curious. Like you said that. Somebody said here, Lucas was like disarming instead of trying to sell immediately. A mistake that happens too often is somebody's like, oh, I looked at this before, and then you're like, oh yeah, dude, but those other guys suck. Just try to come in and like I'm way better than them, rather than be like, oh really? I'm curious. What did you find? Right? That is more gonna open me up and get me to a place that will connect then, instead of just trying to keep selling me. Yeah.
Love the info I got off it, by the way, too. It's like, well, why even meet again? Like, with a smile, I'm trying to borrow Ashton's smile. I got to do more reps. Ashton, do you do reps in the mirror, like smiling? But yeah, it was like, well, why even meet again? Like, why are we doing this? With a smile. Well, my wife is actually more interested than I am. Ah, okay, that makes sense. You're trying to make happy wife happen. All right. Well, let's talk about that. Okay, cool. Guys, this was a lot of fun. Okay, a couple things as we get this party started today. Do you mind if I am direct with you? Can I be a little bit direct with you without you getting mad at me? You can get mad at me if you want. Actually, tell you the truth, that says more about you than it does me. But if I can, let me say this. One, two things. It does no service to you at all to attend and spend time like this out of your day when you could be selling and have your camera off and not be engaged. This is a very engaging type call. Hopefully you saw that from yesterday. Today will be even more so. Be engaged. Change is an engaging game. You have to be a part of it. So let's get the cameras on so we can see the faces, so I know who's paying attention, so that we can make the recommendations. We're going to poll people live today on the call as Alex and I finish, so that we can make tweaks and suggestions to how you are currently overcoming objections that will hopefully make a six-figure impact in your business. Here's the second thing. I've gotten followed from some of the people on the call so far on Instagram, and their accounts are on private, and you are in the business of bringing business. If you're using social media and it's on private, that is a waste of your time and effort. Get that thing on public. You're in the business of bringing business. That is your profession. That is your more than just a job. It is the business of a professional to bring the business. That's what sales is all about. And the biggest problem with most businesses is that they have a small audience of people who know what they do and the value that they bring. You got to shift that. Make sure you're public. If you're only going on social media to consume, then get off social media altogether. Be productive. All right, today I've got a good friend of mine. This guy I've known for a handful of years. He's the one I know the most. And because he's just not been in the game, frankly, as long, I think he might not be as known as the other two we've had, but you should know him. This man is incredible at some of the most hard to teach things that we're going to dive in here today. Hard to teach things and principles of actually selling. And I couldn't think of a better person to do this with, to impart this value with, than Alex Reynoso. Alex, I appreciate you taking the time here to be with us, to impart some wisdom, and let's do some live role plays together. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me on, bro. Humbled to be on this call, especially with the other industry giants you had on this call, man. So I'm excited.
Yeah, it's been what we're covering today. If you watch the sales process so far, this week's experience, it's been getting the mindset right first. Now we're diving into the skill set of the sales process. Yesterday was lowering resistance so that prospects could actually open up and have real conversations. And when that happens is when objections will start to come up. And this is a good part, right? This is when the job of the salesman actually really starts to get valuable. And so a couple questions to ask you, and then we'll dive into the role plays. If any of you have a question about objections, feel free to type it in the chat to make sure we cover it as well. But what I'd like to ask you first, Alex, to get it started is, how do you personally view objections? Like, what frame when do you use, like, when you look at an objection, or how do you personally view them?
Yeah. Objections for me are just a lie, and the customer doesn't even know they're lying. That's the thing with an objection. It's them spitting out a lie, not realizing it's a lie, and it can be a combination of what they're not saying, combination of them processing their thoughts, and it can be, for the most part, the truth. So it's your job to peel that onion back when you're handling an objection, depending on where you are in the sales process.
I really like that, because we do that to ourselves. We have a lot of our own growth by convincing ourselves of some lie. And most of the time we're not even aware that it is a lie. And I think that's a beautiful lens to view an objection, that they might not even be aware that the objection they have is not true, let alone not serving them. I really like that perspective.
That's a long answer, just compacted into one short one.
So in looking for these lies, right, and maybe there's some truth to it and stuff like that too, but when you're identifying these, is there something that you can tell where a certain objection is coming, or it's predictive at all? I like to think of sports, and you put yourself in the best position to run your play. And you can do that by studying game tape and film, and people kind of present the same way. Are there things that you look for to kind of get predictive with what lies might be coming out of the prospect as you meet with them?
Yeah, so listening and paying attention, again, depending on where you are. Like if you're in home, the more homes you're in, the easier it's going to be for you to handle these objections. On the door, oftentimes you're going to hear the same objection door after door, because that door's been beaten up by the same amateur salesperson week after week. So if you're picking up on, like these guys, you're the fourth guy here, you're the fifth guy here, is this solar, right? To your point, which goes into my training a little bit, is put yourself in an offensive position, not defensive position, right? And the way you do that is you don't overcome objections, you undercut them. And the way you undercut them is you remove that weapon from the homeowner. It blows my mind on how many salespeople know what objection they're going to get, and they practice and role play on how to combat that. Our goal is not to go combat or fight prospects. Our goal is to go have just a logical, realistic conversation with them. And if you can remove their weapon, their one and only weapon, before they even try to hit you with it, you can actually have a conversation with them. So if you're picking up on this stuff, to answer your question, Zach, is don't wait for the objection you know is coming to come. Bring it up before they do.
Yeah.
And you're going to know what's coming if it's just a common trend in your area, like you guys were just here, or XYZ. Just bring it up before they do. That way you can come from a little bit more of a stronger position.
Yeah, so that might look something like, hey, I know I'm the 10th guy to stop by today. Aren't you loving this? Like, yeah,
just I know we like to role play in these, so I'll kind of do it with you. Just
hello?
Hey, how's it going?
It's all right. What's up?
Good. I'll be quick. Are you the homeowner here?
Yeah. What are you selling?
No, I'll be quick. I've been hearing from your neighbors that like there's been 3 or 4 guys each week coming out here trying to sell you guys on like a really big solar loan. Is that right?
Yeah. They've been coming by a lot.
Okay, gotcha. Can I just be super direct with you? Is that fair?
Sure.
Okay. You guys, how long you guys lived here?
Oh, like 7 years.
Okay, so being that you're in Arizona or California, you've been here for 7 years, you've looked into solar before, I'm sure, right?
Yes.
Okay, and if it would have made sense, they'd probably be on your roof by now.
Yes.
Yeah, so a lot of the pain we have in the area is these neighbors don't understand why these people keep coming back when it's never made sense. Are you in the same boat?
Yeah, man, exactly. That's exactly it.
Gotcha.
That's a good, hold on, quick pause for a couple of reasons. One, Siri heard me and it started playing some music in the background. So I'm going to put it in the chat here. What did you pick up on this? He's talking about instead of, and I love the language here, Alex, instead of overcoming, it's undercutting.
Yeah, he talks about himself all the bad things about himself so that the other person has nothing to say. Because it's like he already said everything. Yeah.
Yeah, what are they going to refute if you're telling them all the things that they were getting ready to tell you? Thinking of like undercutting, it's now I'm taking the ammo out of their gun. They have nothing to shoot with, right? Something like that, Alex?
Yeah, exactly. He got it right there. I mean, I love that comparison. But if you're trying to be effective, authentic, and consistent, you need to believe in what you're doing. When you are approaching people with backdoor bait and switch programs you don't really believe in, 55% or more of the communication you have with somebody's nonverbal. And when you don't believe in what you're saying, they hear that more than what's actually coming out of your mouth. So when you can believe in your approach, you can believe you can go get a result because you believe in your approach, you're going to be more consistent through the process. The no's aren't going to hurt as much because you know you're out there to penetrate, and you're going to penetrate a lot more effectively by just filtering through people, by having real conversations versus trying to trick somebody.
Yeah. No, this goes really well, actually, piggybacking off of Ashton yesterday, talking about being human. Right? The number one way to sell is actually be authentically you, be a human. Don't be this repetitive sales robot. The realization happened with these sales reps that the best way to sell is not to focus on what you're trying to say. It's focusing on what they are trying to say. And not meaning even what their words are, but it's listening for all that nonverbal stuff so that you reach understanding. You sell from understanding. And when you're too focused on what am I supposed to say? What questions am I supposed to ask? What's the program and all this stuff? You're not focused on what they're communicating, and you're actually misinterpreting so much of what they are saying or, non-verbally saying to you. Would you say, or do you think I'm off on that?
1000%. You should pick up on their objection just through their body language, their facial expressions, before they even open their mouth. Like, I had a lady, you guys have probably had this before, answer the door and she's just like already tell me, what do you want? You've been here 1,000 times. So the first thing I say to that person is like, I'm probably the 5th guy here today, right? Doesn't even answer, just nods her head aggressively. Now I'm factoring what's my ROI on this interaction? On my energy, on my income. Is this even worth me having a conversation, or am I out here just going to try to just shove solar down her throat, right? So the next question that automatically comes to my mind is a qualifying question, right? Versus trying to convince or sell on feature. Oh, well, it's no out-of-pocket cost. We don't do loans anymore. Instead of trying to sell her, it's more of trying to qualify her, because without her giving me any type of verbal communication, I can already have a real conversation with her just by picking up on what she's not saying.
Yeah. So there's an interesting theme kind of developing here is when we talk about objections. One, you actually refrained from overcoming. You talked more about undercutting. And then the other way is what is actually being communicated is maybe not what they're saying. What do you think, in your mind, someone is trying to communicate when they give an objection?
It depends on the objection. So, I don't want holes on my roof. That could be a real objection depending on where I get it in my pitch. If I get it super early inside of the conversation, then it's probably just a smoke screen. You guys know all this stuff. That's elementary stuff. But if I get it later in the pitch, it's like, hey, look, this is a brand new roof. I just got it done. I don't want holes in my roof. I'm not going to go into 10-year warranties or sealing our roof penetrations, right? What are they really saying when I don't want holes in my roof? I don't want to deal with leaks. I don't want to deal with hassle. That's what they're really saying.
My time's valuable.
So you have to talk to that objection, not the objection you heard.
Right.
The best way I think you need to do that is, again, play offense. And the best way you can play offense is ask questions. What do you mean by that? I don't want holes in my roof. Oh, gotcha. What do you mean by holes in your roof? Well, you guys have to go out there and they might be completely uneducated on how this stuff is actually installed, number one.
Right.
Number two, they might have heard a horror story that they're basing their decision off of. and then you want to loop that back to them. Oh, okay, so it sounds like what I'm hearing is you don't want to just take out a huge loan just to save $20 a month just for your living room to be poured onto and all your furniture to be ruined. Is that kind of, well, not necessarily. I just had my cousin do this, and then boom, what's going to happen is the real objection or horror story is going to rise to the surface. Now you can isolate that and handle it.
Yeah. Yeah, it reminds me, Alex Reynoso talks about anything like, actually the way he views it, anything before price is mentioned is actually more of an obstacle. Everything after price is mentioned is the objection itself. Because once they understand the value discrepancy, now I have an objection to the thing versus before it's kind of just an obstacle. What I see of this, and tell me what you think here, Alex, what I see when there's an objection is that there was some level of intrigue or interest. They wouldn't have thought about it enough to have an obstacle unless there was some level of interest. So the frame to take on maybe for you watching is every obstacle or objection is actually opportunity for you, the salesperson, to provide value if you can find the lie that they're basing their decision on.
The fact that they have an objection shows their interest. Right? People know what a door knocker is. If they came to the door, they're not busy. If they answer the door, they're somewhat interested. They're interested enough to know at least why you're there. Right? They're at least interested to find out why you're there. They may not even be interested in your service or product, but they're interested enough to find out why you're there, why you're calling, or why you're knocking. If they're giving you objections, they're playing with you. It means they want to play. Right? The fact that they're engaged, they're emotionally engaged enough to just give you an objection means that they're kind of open. They're almost, people want to be challenged like at a subconscious level. If they weren't interested, as soon as they heard solar, they'd shut the damn door on your face. You guys have had that before, right? That is a not interested, like just a door being shut. But yeah, if they're giving you objections, that's enough energy for me to say, okay, now I got to start qualifying how serious you are about this by having you defend your objections.
Yeah, no, there's definitely something there. Let's figure out what it is. And it sounds like I was going to ask you, like, do you have a set process for this? And again, it's not your responsibility to overcome the objection because that focuses on what you bring to the table. When it's most effective if you can collaborate with that person and help them solve their own problem, like their own objection. That's when they take ownership of the solution, and it just so happens that like your idea is part of it. You know what I mean?
I do, yeah. I put together like a small slideshow software that really
launch it.
Cool. So we kind of like went over this already, kind of beat me to it. But if you look at the definition of overcome, it's to prevail, which means I'm coming from defeat. I don't like to overcome anything. Right? To me, that sounds like I have to overcome defeat and prevail. I'm coming from a losing position. In sales, if you think you're coming from a losing position, that's problem number one. If you think you have to go get something from people, you have to go convince people, you have to go trick people, you have the wrong relationship with sales. Just like people have the wrong relationship with money, with themselves or their partners. Like your relationship with sales and your product and your service has everything to do with how you approach it. And it like asking questions is so important because for me, it's what's my ROI, right? Like I got a long distance relationship. I got a 3.5-year-old kid. I'm a homeowner. I'm a landlord. I run a team. Like I have so much stuff going on in my life. I don't need to be here arguing with somebody. If you have a problem, let's identify it. At a scale of 1 to 10, how much does it hurt? If it's like 7 or above, and let's help you relieve that pain. Like that is me in a nutshell inside of a sales call, phone call, appointment, door knock. That is my mindset on why I'm even there.
Yeah, I love that.
No, you guys don't go to the doctor's office when you're fully healthy, nothing hurts, right? But some people out there don't even realize they have a brain tumor until you show them an x-ray. Right? And so, but overcoming objections should feel like playing the card game bullshit. If you guys have ever played that game, you're putting down cards and you're saying 2 jacks of spades or 3 aces. And somebody has to read your nonverbals to say, you know what, that's bullshit. You actually have, I think you're lying there. right? So it's kind of like playing this game with you being able to see through their cards because you have an advantage. And the only way you get that is through experience, because you've seen these cards, you've played this game thousands of times, and you know what a true objection looks like.
100%.
So this is like formula number one. So you asked, that's funny. It's right here. Rule number one, listen, like actually listen to what they're really saying. Like we kind of covered earlier. You know, I don't want holes in my roof, or whatever the objection is, there's probably 2 to 3 layers deep of what they're actually saying. You want to peel that onion if you can, depending on the dynamic, obviously. And this is more like in home. Have them play defense. What do you mean by that? And then how you ask that question is everything. If it sounds like it's scripted for you to ask that question, you're doing it wrong. All right? You want to, hey, what do you mean by like ROI is not there? What do you mean by that? Well, you know, I have to, you know, it's like 12 years to get my money back. I'm like, whoa. What do you mean 12 years? Were you looking at something that cost you money out of pocket before? Yeah, that's the only I was going to look, okay, the reason I'm actually here, and you can kind of go into separating yourself. So that's step number 3, loop back what they told you. So, okay, it sounds like what I'm hearing is you'd be more open to this if XYZ wasn't a reality, potentially, and then you want to test that, defend it, and ask for the no. So look, I'm not even sure if that's even a possibility to do, but if it was a possibility to remove XYZ or get you into a position where XYZ was a possibility, it still sounds to me like you'd probably still stay committed with Edison, PG&E. Is that right? No, not really. Okay, why wouldn't you? Right? Have them start defending themselves against the utility now so you just took an objection by listening to what they're saying, asking for clarification on what they actually mean by that, looping it back to them where if it was a possibility where your fear of what was going to happen wasn't going to happen, if that's even a possibility, would you even still remove yourself from Edison? You just reverse the role of them convincing you versus you convincing them. And if you can do that on the door, in home, on the phone, like if you can master this formula, you can flip pretty much any objection, if not have the belief that you can, which is going to allow you to take more and more action.
But one thing I'll add here, looking at loop back, sounds like when you're about to introduce a new idea, I love asking this question, the what if game, right? So you ask, well, what if it weren't that way? So they've given you the objection here, and you reach a level of understanding. Well, sounds like you're saying this is what you mean by holes in the roof, or moving soon, or whatever it might be, or don't have the money. What if it weren't that way though? And just get them entertaining an idea that another way of doing things is possible from what they've heard so far is a great place to then test and introduce your idea.
We had a guy that we were just speaking to over the phone, and we were trying to just get back in the home. He's like, I've been through this 100 times. I just don't like the fact that it's I was saving money, but it's like increasing 3.5% a year and so on and so forth. And so I'm like, great, can I just shoot you straight? He's like, yeah. You hate wasting time, right? Absolutely. Dude, I got a 3-year-old, and I say this stuff, like I got a 3-year-old kid. I'm a homeowner myself. Like I don't need to be wasting your time or mine. But let me ask you this. It sounds like what you're hoping for is to be able to have your month fee at XYZ and for your rate to never increase whatsoever. Like that's the reality you're looking for? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm not a magician. I'm not even sure if that's even possible. But let's say it were, Greg. Would you even want to take an appointment if it was the reality? Alex, if you're telling me you can do X, Y, Z, right? Like, yeah, I would take an appointment. Cool. We're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. Before I even do anything, send me over your most recent electric bill because it's been quite some time. I'll take a look at it. If I think it's even close to what you're looking for, I'll call you back and we'll sit down and get it going. Is that fair enough?
Love that. Love that. It's good stuff. Because so many too, like you look to solve the objection and you then end up pushing. You're like, oh, I've got this solved and now I push for it. But the ability to take it away and commit to taking it away and saying my time is valuable, and then you go off and you say, so when can we meet? You're almost refuting yourself and creating a bigger hole versus saying like, I am super busy, so before we do anything, why don't I look at this for you? And if it's good enough, I'll call you back.
That's the X-ray. That's the X-ray, right?
Love that.
So, like identifying the pain point. His pain point's no longer solar doesn't make sense. Like somebody's already teed this job up for us. Like there is a new pain point, and his pain point's the escalator.
Yeah.
Right? Now we can identify it, isolate it, and if nothing else surfaces, we can just attack it, solve it, ask for commitment if it were to be a solve. If we were to solve it, ask for commitment, and if we get a yes and yes, I'm willing to move forward and actually show you something that you were looking for, as long as you can commit that you would actually do it if it was a solution. If not, you're lying. You're not telling me what's really stopping you from doing this.
Is there a brave individual that would like feedback on how they overcome an objection? Number one, is there someone who'd like to work to overcome an objection on something that they get a lot? And then two, what's an objection you want to see solved?
I'll role play. That was me. Andrew.
Okay, let's go, Menard.
It's full circle. This guy brought me into solar like 3 years ago, so it's full circle. So thank you, Alex.
What up, bro?
I love it.
Cooking meals and selling meals.
Let's get an objection. Andrew, do you want to suggest one or take one from the audience? Let's see what we got here.
I just got one the other day, like a couple of doors ago before this call. It's like, he's a DIY. He's a DIY. He's like, I'm still debating if I want to do this or just do it myself. And in my head, I'm like, well, that doesn't make any logical sense. But because then I kind of think about, I'm more an analytical person, thinking about warranties and how he's going to spend. It's going to cost you more. It's going to cost you more time. It's going to cost you more money. And God forbid, if you were to fall down from the roof, that's pretty expensive. This is actually fully covered, right? So That was the approach that I took. But I'm open to hearing somebody else or Alex if you have a for that one.
Do you want? Well, two ways we could do this. You do it first, and then we give you a suggestion, or we could role play it for you.
Yeah, I mean, Alex, you want to just be the homeowner?
Let's go, Menard. Hey.
Yeah, my buddy did it himself. Like, I know how much this stuff costs. Like, I can get it done myself for like 10 grand. So that's probably what I'm going to do.
That's super exciting. Have you always been a DIY kind of guy?
Yeah, dude. I just know like this stuff's marked up pretty good. So I'm probably just going to do it myself.
For sure. I totally get that. At the end of the day, all solar is regulated. It's all within 10% of each other. And I agree with you. A lot of homeowners I've worked with have wanted to do it themselves.
Wait, quick pause. Already we're a little off the formula. Can we help you?
Sure.
Okay. Formula is more about asking questions first. So you went into attack mode to overcome the objection. You're now trying to beat him to your idea, right? But we don't even fully know his idea. You're assuming you know it, but you might be off. What if you're off on it, and then you're basing your offensive attack on the wrong defense? Does that make sense?
All right, sure. So I'll start over here.
So he says I know the margins.
Yeah.
Play off of that.
Cool. Yeah, that's exciting. Do you know what kind of panels you would be using?
I'm not sure. I've looked it up. My buddy works at the warehouse shop, so he's going to give me all like the tier 1 stuff.
Great. That's awesome. And then, do you know, are you going to be using like K2 racking or a Pegasus racking when you mount it into your attic trusses?
Oh, I'm honestly not sure yet, man. But
for sure,
I know it's a pretty simple install.
Yeah, no, it could be simple on the outside for sure. The reason why everyone gives us a second look when they work with a roofing and solar company is because we're using the microinverters. You know the difference between a microinverter and a string inverter?
This is better. This is better, right? Would you feel you're having more of a conversation?
Yeah.
Good. This is better. We've taken a step up because now it's a back and forth. It's a collaboration.
Yeah.
But we're still not clear what it is he's communicating. Right?
Andrew, you said it, right? Like, you're a logical person, right? So you're having a logical response and like question formula. But my question would be, if we can flip, is
flip it.
Okay. Oh, that's cool, man. That's awesome. Like, you've done construction before.
Yeah, I've done construction before, and I'd rather just get it done myself and just, not have to worry about paying somebody else, and I'd rather just, get up there and do it myself.
Okay, cool. What, if you don't mind me asking, like, what are you hoping to accomplish by doing that?
Just getting rid of the middleman. A lot of these solar companies are, the middleman is priced a lot higher. If I do it myself, I'm going to save myself a significant amount of money.
Okay, got it. So it sounds like by you doing it yourself, you're gonna save tens, if not thousands of dollars, and you'd rather just do the install yourself. Is that kind of the fear there, that you're just gonna get kind of overpriced and price gouged for the same solution?
Yeah, I'm just tired of shopping around, looking at different solar companies. I'd rather just buy wholesale, because I can buy it, I can buy the panels online and just go ahead and just outsource and get it done myself, instead of having to continue making a payment on it. I'd rather just make it my responsibility. But I do appreciate you popping by again.
So other than like saving a ton of money on the install, what do you hope in solar in general does for you? Like, why would you even install it in the first place?
Yeah, we want to do at least 130% offset, so that we can get a negative bill and produce all our power. We want to be completely off grid and not have to worry about making any other payment to the light palmetto or whoever you were talking about before. We just want to have a fixed payment for our power, and it's our responsibility. We're going to cover it ourselves.
Okay, so you want to kind of just be your own power plant?
100%.
Okay, and then being that you're in PG&E, you're familiar with like the switch from NEM 2.0 to 3.0 and what that means for your install?
Yeah, I heard about that. I wasn't sure what kind of battery I would need, but I did hear that we're in NEM 1 right now.
Good. A little difference here was that he has a better understanding of where you're coming at, Andrew, and he understands your main motivation, which is no bill. Now he can ask questions to show the difference between your level of expertise versus his level of expertise, which was like your second approach, was trying to peg questions that showed that you know more than what he knows.
Yeah.
He really likes to feel dumb until they feel understood.
Right.
Hey, I'll admit that I'm dumb once I realize you're on my side. But before I realize that, I'm now thinking I don't want to talk to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
It's hard sometimes to program our mind to ask. If nothing else, ask for clarity. Ask for understanding. Probe deeper. Well, what do you mean exactly by do it yourself? Even that question will help him open up even more to what it is. And wow, you've checked this out. Hundreds of solar companies or whatever. Like, what's gotten you looking into it in the first place? Like, what do you love that question? Okay, good. Let's do another one. Adam said he's next. He called dibs, I think, in the chat.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me, Zach?
Yeah, we hear you good. Well, this is the correct.
Oh, I had this one yesterday. It was I needed more time to think about it. Handled all their objections. I hit them up today, and they completely just don't want to do it after all.
Okay.
Handled all their objections at home, all their concerns. It was a no-brainer solution. They looked into it like 5 times. This time it made sense. We got down in the middle of contract. The husband was 100% on board. The wife, like last second, backed up, wanted to think about it a little bit more. So I let them have their time, reached out today, and then they kind of decided not to do it. And we were in the middle of contract, like we were signing.
Yeah, they were signing. So it seemed like everything was resolved. What was the wife's comment?
I think what happened was when we got to the actual contract, it got real for them at that moment. Like it was actually happening. So once she started to see like signatures being clicked, because I asked her exactly what did you guys need to think about? Again, it was, well, this is a really big decision. I didn't realize, it's actually happening right now. So we want to think about it a little bit more before we get the actual contract signed and we move forward. And again, I've handled all objections, all concerns before I even show numbers, before I open my computer.
Yeah.
So cold feet, basically.
Sure. And I don't know your sales process, so this would be probably like a longer conversation. But if I were to guess, it sounds like it's a very assumptive process.
Yeah.
So there's
I would have probably picked up on a lot of nonverbals in home at this point. Like if that was her reaction mid doc signing, there was probably some body language or facial expressions or questions she had that you probably should have dug deeper in before jumping into the agreement. It's hard to really dive deep into this one just because of the context of it, but I've been in enough homes where I think I probably would have picked up and called her out on her body language and her nonverbals. Like,
yeah, I appreciate you being open and vulnerable to bring something like this up. Can I be like super direct, or would you be mad?
Go for it.
Okay. If at any time, if I have an assumptive sales process, I'm assuming that everything's solved. I myself am in an assumptive state. Okay. And that means that I am not looking, I'm not as well wired to see objection or to see non-committal language. And they might have been giving you yeses because you were assuming them the whole way through. There was not opportunity for them to give you the no's until they realized, wow, this is actually happening. That's the thought that went through their head. They now felt concern or hesitation, and they act out of that hesitation by pumping the brakes and telling you they need to think about it, okay? So to Alex's point, I want questions that actually drive commitment during the sales process so that objections are forced out before. But if they felt it was assumed the whole way, if they never had opportunity to tell you no before signing, then now in their head, they're like, it's like they have to get away. Does that make sense?
He's right. And there is a way to actually remove this from coming up if it's common for you.
This would be an undercut move rather than overcome.
And it's setting the tone for the appointment and setting the tone for the decision.
If it helps, I like to ask a commitment question early on. First 15-ish minutes, I'm setting up the expectation of which way this is going to go. But I'm from a place of understanding, by the way. In the first 10, 15 minutes is when you're asking the most questions, right? You're trying to understand where they're at, where they've been, what they know, what's come up before. And when you reach that level of understanding and you're able to communicate to your prospect that you understand them, first of all, how do you think they'll feel? If they think like, wow, this guy gets me, what's the feeling do you think they'll get?
Safety.
Yes. Adam, what do you think?
Understood.
Understood. And when you feel understood, have you ever felt perfectly understood before?
Yeah.
Didn't that feel good?
Mm-hmm.
Were you like let down and you open up? The resistance is gone. It's from that place of feeling understood that you ask commitment. You say, well, it sounds like this is what you're looking for and you don't want any of this crap. And if that was the pot, if that's what we could deliver, like that's what would be exciting to you. Is that right? Or am I way off? They'd be like, yeah, exactly. Then you say, well, I'm actually confident we can do that for you. I'll show you what it would look like. If everything checks out for you and it makes sense, would you see any reason not to get the process started today so that you can have what you want? And on that moment, when I ask that question, I'm going to get one of two answers. I'm going to get a no. If it makes sense, we do it. Or I'm going to get a yeah, we don't sign today. And now before I spend 40 more minutes with them, I get to solve and overcome that objection without the contract and price being divulged. And I save myself the time on looky-loos and things like that. Are you with me? Like, it's completely reframe. It's totally opposite of the assumptive close. It is a commitment close, but percentages go way up when you value your time enough to get commitment in the first 15 to 20 minutes. My career totally shifted when I started getting commitment early. I'll just say that. Does that help you, or am I don't know. Maybe you're like, nah, I'm going to keep doing it my way, which is fine too. This is for you.
No, I'm gonna say like honestly, probably 90% of everything you guys just said, I do already in the home, pre-faming, getting their commitment. Again, like I didn't even open my laptop until I got all their objections, all their concerns out. I hit them with if I can do this today, XYZ, is this something you guys want to move forward with? Both of them said yes. And then again, we got down to qualification, got on the numbers. They were still committed. I asked them one more time because I say I get graded on the applications I submit. So again, is there any reason you guys wouldn't want to do this or you guys will back out? Again, nothing. Got down a contract. We were halfway done. Wife literally got up, said, we don't want to do this after all. I can't commit. And literally just walked away. The husband said, no, I want to sign up. Let's keep moving forward. But of course, I didn't want to cancel. So I had them go talk outside the room. Yeah. He came back and basically said, yeah, man, I'm so sorry. My wife just needs to think about it a little bit more. And then again, I just left the house. So I got commitment, reframed it. I got all the concerns, objections.
I'm interested to see if there were like any nonverbals you could have like picked up on and maybe called her out on. Because it like, to go from like that hot just to cold, there was something in the process.
I'm maybe starting to have the pieces click with me. I think is between the consultation, I was focused. That's kind of what it was. I was focusing too much with the husband because he kind of seemed like the boss man. The wife was sitting there, wasn't really engaging too much. And of course, I would ask her from time to time to get her engaged. And then at the very last second, it kind of switched where it seemed like she was the big boss, he wasn't. And that's when the true color, that's kind of clicking out. That's when the true color show. Yeah.
This is why I have Alex. Oh, go ahead, Alex.
You can do that with humor. Like if you're picking with experience, you're picking up on that. And like most of the time, the wife does call the shot, like majority, let's be real, right? And you can pick that up with humor. Like if she's just like sitting there and you can kind of pick up on her being quiet, but she's obviously observant, super smart. I don't know what her name was, but hey, Stacy, like you haven't stopped talking this entire appointment. Like, you know, kind of bring up humor, break her roll down a little bit. Hey, like, what are your thoughts on this? What are your concerns? I know John's been doing the majority of the talking, and kind of just like start facing her and almost you might have to restart the appointment with her, right? Mm-hmm. So
it's funny. I don't know who Stacy is, but you and iPad 2 said Stacy at the same time.
Stacy's mom.
But that's actually the goal, and this is why I chose Alex for this call. It's why I reached out to him for the overcoming of the objections. I'm glad he chose it because it means bold talk. It means getting real with people, and Alex does this so well of calling people up, calling people out, holding them to themselves without being overly pushy.
That alone will just give her the sensation of trust.
Yeah,
which is probably what she wanted more than any information.
Super good. Okay, someone put, and we're out of time again. Hope this has been helpful, especially for those who actively engaged, got some feedback there. Elijah has a question, but someone put in the chat, maybe not enough urgency, and that's possible. It is possible that they hadn't sold themselves on now as opposed to later. So tell me if you've come up against this, you lower resistance. You've got the appointment. You lower resistance at the appointment. The vibes are flowing. Objections have come up. You've worked together to solve them. And then they still wait. They don't take action. Does that happen? I saw that happen so much in my career. If that's happening, it's mostly because either you spent no time developing urgency, or two, you used the wrong type of urgency. You told the urgency rather than getting themselves to tell themselves the urgency. This is tomorrow, the last step of this process to button this all up this whole week. We're going to deep dive on the type of questions you can ask to collaborate with your customer, with your prospect, and get them selling themselves on why now as opposed to later. That's our final day. Do not miss it. Alex, any final words to send off the group here today?
No, just value your time. Like if you value your time and your skill set, which you'll gain through experience and cultivating your identity and how you see yourself, like literally you'll never out-earn your self-identity, right? So if you work hard on your identity, on yourself, and valuing your time and what it is that you do and fulfill at a level of customer service that nobody else would get other than if they did from you, it's a lot easier to be super direct with people because it's their privilege to work with you, not vice versa.
Well said.
But somebody asked to like throw the screen up. I just copy and pasted that formula. You guys can find me on Instagram. We'll be glad to connect. It's and then first and last name, the Alex Reynoso.
Highly recommend. Now again, go on Instagram, follow. We love it. But if I lose the following, I'd rather not have followers than have you only going on Instagram to consume. Be a producer. Collaborate, push content out, make yourself known. Don't be private. That doesn't serve anybody. Take the mindset of someone who's adding value to the world. Last tidbit I wanted to say, one of my formulas to add to this, when you're asking what do you mean and how do you mean and you reach that understanding, is a simple language hack. Watch yourself, maybe even record yourself in a conversation and identify how many times you say no but or yes but, and tell your idea of following that, okay? One of the biggest simple hacks I made that made one of the biggest impacts is changing language to yes and. A but says, I'm not listening to what you just said, pay attention to what I said. And you actually create a greater gap between you and where they are. Your ideas are now in debate. And says you add to the conversation. You heard them, and here's some more information to go along with it. So if someone's like, I don't want holes in my roof, yeah, and that would be terrible. And that's why they now do this really cool 3-step sealant. Now you're adding to the conversation instead of defeating it.
Last thing I would say, if possible, is just thank you, Zach, for hopping on, and all you guys for investing time into Zach's training. I know it's highly valuable. I think the biggest form of disrespect, in my opinion, is taking time out of your day and somebody else's day to go learning something and then not finding a way to go immediately implement it. The only way to glue this stuff to you, where it actually will stay with you, is for you to go implement it somehow today, whether it be with your spouse or a customer. Because if you can get proof of concept that this stuff works, and you can get your own testimony that this stuff works, this information will not leave you. That's the only way you'll be able to retain this stuff. Because you've been on thousands of these calls per year. The only stuff you retain, in my opinion, is the stuff that you go and try yourself, implement, get your own proof of concept that this works, then you'll keep doing it. If you don't want to waste this past hour or income that you've invested, go find a way right now, Success Love Speed, today, to go get a result from what you learned on this call. It's the only way you're going to get an ROI on the hour you've input on this call.
But hey, we'll see you tomorrow. Alex, you're a legend. Day 3, group coaching. Hey, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful to be with you today. This has been one heck of a week, at least from my perspective, from my eyes. I love seeing people. I saw people getting out there, posting, getting same day deals, going and immediately applying what they've been learning throughout this week. And it's been an honor to host this and provide it for you. I'd like to hear from maybe a few of you. How have you grown this week? How have you used this week? It's one thing to show up, but I'm not about having people just consume. I'm about driving action. So what have you taken this week?
Hey, my name's Ryan. But yeah, so like you were saying something about like lowering sales resistance before you give your close. Like sometimes when I was in home, because I sell solar, sometimes I'd be like trying to, get the sale and making progress, but I didn't realize like if there's sales resistance put up, it really doesn't matter. Like you can't just shoot a Hail Mary, it won't work. You have to lower the sales resistance first. And I thought that was fire.
Love that. Good. Did you see that come to play throughout this week?
I got 2 closes yesterday. I got a close from an appointment that was set the day previous, and then a same day close.
Let's go. Drop a fire for Ryan here, taking action on what he was doing. Let's not throw up Hail Marys anymore. This is a profession. We're going to lower the resistance. We're going to get the defense where we need it, and then we're going to deliver. Thank you, Ryan, for sharing, for being an active participant this week. Who else? What's up, Edgar? Go ahead.
How you doing? I think the last couple trainings have been really fire. I think we started really good with the first day with good little mindset reset. And then the nuggets Alex dropped yesterday, I tried to apply them as soon as the call was over. I was already in hood, so I just tried talking to people. And at first, I'm not going to lie, the first couple conversations were a little rough just because I'm not used to framing the pitch the way that he explained it. It was a little bit something that's out of my norm. but I tried it, and I mean, one got to kind of stick. And I've always loved when I see videos and people convince the homeowner to sell themselves on the product. I feel like I don't do that, but I need to start working on that. But I feel like what he gave us yesterday kind of helped me tweak that a little bit to where I could kind of switch on the homeowner and have them convince themselves just by asking those probing questions.
Yes. Dude, you hit on something so huge that most professionals don't understand. They try something knowing that it's the right thing to do, that it's the way they want to do it, but if it doesn't work right away, because it's not their norm, they give up on it. So important that a professional always keeps getting better. In fact, here's where I want to take this off for today. Before we dive into the training today, I want to bring back in, I wasn't satisfied with the level of value we gave Adam yesterday in that weird situation where the person got cold feet. And so if you guys would like to see this, I'd like to actually act that out and role play it. I'll be the salesperson. Adam, if you'll be the prospect, the wife, I guess, you can choose someone to be your husband if you want. We can role play through this because it will actually tie into the principle that we'll talk about today. Adam, you down for that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, would everyone like to see that? How to react when a person starts getting cold feet mid-signing? Has that happened to anyone
100%.
else? Cold signing? Yeah, okay, let's do this. Lauren, go ahead and pin Adam. By the way, I want to give props to Adam. Adam doesn't need to show up to a call like this, by the way. Like, he had $100,000 month last year, I'm pretty sure, right? Like,
yeah.
The dude is a killer. He's someone that I could learn a ton from. And this is actually a hallmark of top performers, that they're constantly evolving, constantly learning. They keep showing up, they keep evolving. They're a professional, and that's Adam. So I wanted to make sure we delivered for Adam, and rather than just giving suggestions, we actually role played that out because that's what you came aboard for. Try to remember what she said when she got cold feet. So we're in the act of signing, and we're going to try to play this out. All right?
I can handle almost every objection out there personally that's been thrown my way. The only one I usually can't get through for some reason is that they still need to think about it and they don't give me any information. So 2 days ago, backstory, I went to a house. Everything made sense, pre-framed it, pullbacks. It was a no-brainer solution. They looked into it 5 times in the last 2 years. I was able to educate them, make it make sense. I got their commitment before moving forward with, showing numbers and everything. Basically, once I got down to showing numbers, it made sense. We moved forward to contract. In the middle of contract, we were halfway signing it. The wife got cold feet, basically.
Okay.
First thing she's...
Wait. Give me 2 things. Give me the main thing, the main problem they were trying to avoid. I'm sure you uncovered that. And then the main solution they were looking for with solar. Give me those 2 things so I know the knowledge that you had going into this.
Their last bill was the highest they've ever had in the home, 30 years being in the home. Okay. And then also their neighborhood got hit with blackouts 2 weeks ago. So 2 problems they were trying to solve.
All right, so start the enactment here. You're role playing. We're in mid signing. We're just watching you sign, and then she hits us with whatever she said. You could take it away.
Yeah, we just kind of want to think about it a lot more. I didn't realize this was such a big commitment as soon as we got to the contract. So we kind of want to just think about this before we move forward.
Okay, yeah, no sweat. Sounds like this is maybe a little rushed for you.
Yeah, I mean, we did just kind of meet you guys, and we haven't really heard too much about your company, and we don't want to be rushed into such a big commitment, so we kind of want to just think about it for another day or 2.
Totally cool. Yeah, you can take all the time you need. I mean, you've been taking like 30 years so far, right?
Yeah.
You can take all the time you want, no problem. I am kind of curious, when you say big commitment, how do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, they're just going to be installed on the home. And again, I know this is a 25-year contract, so I think it's just such a big commitment that, again, we're signing up for something that's so long.
Okay, that makes sense. I guess, what are some other things that come to mind when you think about commitments that you've made that like seem big?
What was that again?
Well,
can you explain it?
Yeah, like it sounds like you feel this is a big commitment. I'm curious, what are some other big commitments that you've made, if you don't mind my asking?
Oh, I mean, we've made quite a big commitments. I mean, even with the house, obviously.
Okay, yeah. So it's almost like you're seeing this the same way you saw the house?
Yeah, in a way, and obviously, before we moved in the home, they sent us a contract too, and it was just so long, and clearly we didn't want to be rushed. So, same thing. I just kind of wanted to take time before we signed the whole contract.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that would make sense when something is as big as like the house, that you would want to take full due diligence and like checking it out and diving deep. If you don't mind me asking this last question, then what are you, I guess, hoping to accomplish by slowing it down?
Well, I think mainly just think about it a little bit more. Again, solar wasn't really a priority. It was, it was the husband Steve's priority, obviously. And he kind of just mentioned we had this appointment. It clearly makes sense. Again, I personally would like to just think about everything a little bit more before we sign a contract. Because again, once I sign it, I sign it.
Yeah, and I'm totally with you. It sounds like you're a person of your word.
Yeah.
Good. The last thing I want you to do is to rush into something and then to there is money that goes into this where we have site surveyors come out, and sometimes we have to disqualify projects and say, hey, your house can't go solar and stuff, and that's fine. That's part of the process. But you just want to be sure that you're sure that this is the move that you want to make before you actually commit to it, because you're going to commit all the way once you do. Is that right?
Yeah.
Cool. Totally good. I'm happy to send you stuff. Would it help you if I sent you some stuff that you could look over and totally review? What would be most helpful for you?
Yeah, of course. Just send over anything you got, and then I'll go ahead and think about it for a few days, and then we'll get back to you.
Yeah, no problem. So in sending stuff over, just help me know what to send to you. It'll take a little bit of time to put together. What would be the most important information to send back over for you to help you think?
Yeah, I kind of want to definitely look more into your company. Again, you kind of showed me the review page, and it seems like you guys are a big company. I've just never heard of you guys again. So I kind of want to think about the company itself.
Okay,
because it is construction.
Getting the right information behind the company. Are you talking about, I guess, what information exactly?
Well, I kind of wanted to just see the equipment you guys are using.
Okay.
And then I know you mentioned this is fully funded. There's no loan or anything. So I kind of wanted to see a little bit more details about where exactly this money's coming from to pay for the whole project.
Oh, okay. I'm with you. All right. So Stacy, I'm happy to send that over. It's going to take a little bit of time to put it together. I don't want to waste anyone's time. Before I compile that and send it over, you do see value in what we would be doing for you, right?
Oh, yeah. No, this is honestly just a really good decision. I can see it. I just wouldn't want to waste your time or my time.
Yeah. What did you like most about it, though?
Well, I definitely like that you guys have the backup batteries. The last two companies, they weren't giving us backup. So I know that'll be a good benefit.
Okay. And do you feel like I'm the type of person you'd feel comfortable doing business with?
Oh, yeah. You explained everything very well. I liked all the extra things you kind of showed us throughout the process. You were a lot more educational than the last guy. The last guy kind of just came in here, and this is kind of what he had to show us really quick. You walked us through a lot. So, yeah, it wasn't anything on you. Just, again, I wanted to think about it a lot more.
Good, yeah, because it's a big decision for you. All right, well, can I ask one last question without you getting mad at me since we're here?
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious, Stacy. Obviously, you're looking at this the same way you look at buying your house. But what if you're wrong about that? What if it's actually not that big of a deal?
I mean, yeah, you're right. I know that it's permanently installed on the house, so sure. It is kind of a big deal because I know once they're on, they're on. That's what the last guy said. You can't take them off. So
yeah. So you want to make sure it gets done right the first time. But I'm kind of curious, how much time and diligence did you put into getting your utility set up in the first place?
I don't remember how long it set up. I think we just moved in and it was already
kind of a boom thing, right?
Yeah.
And now, since it's up, and you've been running with Edison for 30 years, and you've told me it's gotten worse year after year, and now you're paying more than you've ever paid for blackouts.
Yeah.
And you do see this is a way to get away from the blackouts at a lower cost to ensure that that doesn't happen ever again. Yeah. I don't know. To me, and maybe I'm wrong by this, but don't you see how it's just as simple as getting electricity?
Yeah, no, you're right. It is just electricity. It's just, I'm just more nervous about, again, something is on our house. We haven't really done any projects to the home. So again, you guys just knocked yesterday on the door, and now we're looking at doing solar for the home.
Yeah. And I want you to know, I look at this like a marriage relationship. You know, that's one of the other big commitments. Hopefully, when you got married to this guy, you know, you took your time on it too, right? Or was it like, maybe it was StarCraft, right? You just jumped in.
Oh, yeah.
Good. So I look at it that way. Yeah, we're going to serve you for a long time, provide electricity, maintain the batteries, make sure you're completely protected so that you never have to worry about these crazy rates again. We want to make sure that we're doing it right too. We could do one of two ways. I'm happy to send you the information. I can come back in 2 days and make sure everything's verified with you. It sounds like you only need a couple of days. If you would be so kind as to let me know, would you say you're like 70, 80% there, or are you kind of still down at like a 4 or so?
No, I mean, I would say Steve is like a 10, and I would probably be like a 7 or 8.
Okay. So we could do one of two things. Most of the people who in your situation feel the same way. I'm not saying that you do this, and I do not by any means want you to sign up just to cancel. That doesn't make sense because you're a person of your word. I am too. What I might suggest, could I make a suggestion? Many people in your same situation wanted to prove that we're as good as we say we are. And how could you know that?
Yeah. Given it time, I guess.
Yeah, give us an opportunity to earn your trust. What I might suggest, since he's 10, right? Steve's good. You're about an 8, 7 and 8. What if we moved forward? We got the process started, and if anything throws you off where I don't deliver on what I'm saying, or the company does a mistake because they're human that we can't make right for you, and we don't earn your trust, I'll call this off myself. I don't want to get into a marriage relationship that's going to be based off of not delivering on the expectations set. But that way we're already starting towards making sure that the next power outage doesn't hurt you and that the next rate increase doesn't affect you. I don't know, would that be crazy to start that now?
No. I would just feel bad again if I do go through with this and I find that one thing to not go through with it and I do cancel on you guys.
Well,
but you're saying there's a cancellation period, right?
Yeah, but again, yes, but I don't want you banking on the cancellation. What I'm saying is, if everything was delivered the way that we said it would be, why would you cancel?
I probably wouldn't if there was nothing.
Okay. And what if there was a slight mistake because we're human? Would you give me the chance to make it right, or would you cancel without talking to me?
Well, no, I would definitely reach out to you guys because I don't like problems unsolved.
Cool. So I think we're on the same page. What would you want to do from here?
You got me sold.
Okay, cool. Why don't we see? Let's just finish this out. We'll schedule your survey, and I'll be with you every step of the way.
That works.
Okay, cool. Hey, that was fun. I don't know. Did that help?
Wow, that was amazing, guys.
Thanks, Stan. Okay. What are a couple of key takeaways? What did you take away? Adam, from your perspective, what did you take away?
It's becoming a doctor a lot more at an even higher level that I noticed. I think what I did 2 days ago is I did probably 75% of what you just did on the call, but I didn't go as deep seeing it from you in that perspective. That's something, again, even Alex, he's really good at training on. It's just applying so many different things at once. You kind of can't sometimes, you forget. It was just going a little bit more deeper with the homeowner is what I noticed. You did a lot more that I need to be doing.
Good. And how much of it was a collaboration? How much back and forth did we have?
I would say you were like a 60 and I was like a 40, almost 50-50.
Good. I was hoping for at least 50-50. So many sales reps, when you get an opposition like that, it triggers resistance in you. Like, you get pressure and now you're acting out of pressure and you start talking like a mile a minute. We want to stay cool because, like you said, we don't want a deal to move forward. And I want to communicate that. I don't want you to move forward if you're going to cancel. Like, why would you cancel? So this is one that you'll want to watch back because there were a lot of different layers, but all we did was apply everything that we've learned to this point. Agree with to lower resistance. Keep the resistance out of the way. Keep the emotions calm and regulated. Have it be a back and forth conversation. And then I put Adam in ownership of the objection. I helped isolate what it really was, which, by the way, did anyone catch what the real objection was? Lauren, what do you think?
Trust issues?
It was trust in the company.
Yeah, because of how big of a commitment they made it seem.
Yeah.
That's where the thinking was, wow, this is a big deal. So I wanted to help them find relationship. But if I immediately attacked how big of a deal it was in their head, I would be seen as a salesperson. I didn't do that until we reached a point, yes, Javier, of understanding. And then it was, well, what if you're wrong about it being a big deal? And he was like, yeah, I guess you're right. It seems like it is. Now he's open, or she, Stacy, is open to receiving a new idea because they've disproved their own current idea. Does that make sense? A person will never adopt a new way of thinking mentally until their old way of thinking is proven false. And they have to be the ones responsible for disproving their idea.
Do you ever get tension asking that many questions, like in home? Do they get like irritated from how many questions you're asking them?
And if you've done your job ahead of that, no, because it sounds like it's a collaboration. You are communicating, you're on the same team, and people want what they want.
Yeah, it's like a communication. It's not like an argument, it's a conversation.
Yeah, and notice anytime I had something that I was going to assert, I asserted first with asking if it was like, could I share something without you getting mad at me? Like I prefaced it there to ensure that we could proceed, that I haven't overcrossed the boundaries. But listen, guys, where does the most growth happen? In your own life, where does growth happen?
Outside your comfort zone.
Outside the comfort zone, yeah. Most salespeople will close deals if they're willing to go into the levels of discomfort that other prospects won't. Someone will come out the other side more comfortable in that situation, and the person who's most comfortable in uncomfortable situations usually wins the situation. So if I've done my job and it has been a collaboration the whole way through, and I'm asking these questions, especially by asking permission to ask the questions, it doesn't come across overly aggressive or assertive. It comes across collaborative, which is the goal. Ultimately, we can knock the door, we can lower resistance, we can overcome objections, we can do everything right, and they still won't take action. Today is about driving the emotion or triggering the emotion that generates action. We act emotionally. All of our action is emotional. Your prospects' actions are emotional. And what emotion drives action? Think about in your own life. Put it in the chat. What emotion drives action now as opposed to later? How would you describe it in one word? What's the emotion that drives action in your own life? Okay, fear is one. Who said it? Who's that? Luis, urgency. Think about a professional athlete. When the clock starts to drain down, you're watching the NBA or something, and the shot clock's coming down, or you're getting close to the end of the game. Watch people's energy levels shift. Watch their body language shift. The energy shifts to an energy of urgency. And the best professionals, the ones who stay calm in those moments, are acting out of urgency, but it's an internal urgency, not an external one. Urgency is the emotion that drives action. Urgency, if it drives it now. You can get determination to drive long action or whatever, but if you're talking about the here and now, which is what we're all wanting out of our prospects, to act now, not later, right? Don't think about it, right? All that kind of stuff. If we're wanting to drive urgency, then we have to generate urgency. Now, what are some ways? There are actually two types of urgency. There's external urgency and there's internal urgency. All right. And the problem that most sales professionals face is that they've been taught and programmed to rely on the wrong kind.
Internal would be the most effective?
Yeah, internal would be the most effective. But what type of urgency do most sales professionals use?
External.
External. What are some examples of external urgency? So external urgency is something that relies on something outside of themselves. So think of something that a salesperson used, that you've even used, that is an external factor. Rate increases. Yep. The rates are about to go up. The market is changing. Time to lock in your lower rates now. It's external urgency because of something happening outside of themselves. California had a huge thing, right? Think of the change between NEM2 and NEM3. How many deals got slung in that one period? So many freaking deals. Same thing happened in Arizona, by the way. One Michael O'Donnell will tell you that his biggest month ever was August of 2017, because in Arizona, the biggest utility shifted from net metering 1-to-1 to a buyback program. That would happen every year, by the way. I'm in Arizona, so I lived it. I sold during that. And he never hit the same number because what? The external drive for that urgency happened again and again. What is the problem with external urgency? Does it work? Yes, but what is the problem, do you think? Relying on market factors, on funds that could run out. Good example, Israel. What is the problem with relying on external urgency to drive action? What happens externally is uncontrollable. If it's a market factor, if it's a utility thing, whatever, you don't have control over that. So then you're left with coming up with things like, hey, promotion deadline. Hey, it's March, spring into savings with solar. Right now you can get $1,000. And what does this teach a prospect over time? What do you think happens when you're only relying on external urgency to drive action? Think about
temporary results.
Wait, who said that?
Temporary results.
Yeah, Adam, temporary results. Why? Because they start to learn that what is driving urgency now is still, like, how many people are still selling solar in California? A crazy amount. And it was supposed to be the end of solar in California. How many people are still selling in Arizona? A crazy amount. So these external things, it doesn't matter. The companies find ways to adapt. The next sale is always coming. The next promotion is coming. When you only rely on external, you're relying on things that fade in power. Because the audience, the prospects start to learn that, oh, I could get this deal later. Maybe I'll even get a better deal, right? So we want to rely on internal urgency. Now, how do we generate? Yeah, they become numb for it. Very good, Lauren. How do we generate internal urgency? This is urgency that is generated from within. It has nothing to do with the outside. All emotions, very good. All emotions, Lauren nailed it in the chat. Make it their idea. External urgency is all stuff that is you telling them about stuff that's happening. It is your idea of reasons why they should move forward versus their idea of reasons why they should move forward. And when they elicit their own idea about why they should move forward now as opposed to later, they generate within themselves their own urgency. If you've ever thought this, think about this for a second. I have to do this. Think about that statement. Think about a time you've ever thought that before. Like, oh, I have to do this. It's time. I have to do this now. What feeling do you get when you think, I have to do this? You get urgency. You get desperation. You get pressure. And that forces the action within you. And that's coming from within. If you can get them to think that to themselves, I have to do this now, and they have that thought, whether it's conscious or subconscious, go through their mind, their entire body will feel urgent, and that urgency will drive them to take action. So, how do we get them to experience the thoughts that generate internal urgency? Yeah, good, Johnny. The right kind of questions. Ultimately, right here at this point of the sales conversation, if you can get them to talk about the problems they have, building the pain, and then get them to talk about the solution that they're looking for, right? You now have a gap between where they are and where they want to be. You take that away by getting them to entertain what would happen if they do nothing. This is consequence. This is ramification. This is imagination stuff. You go into the world of imagination. Most people make decisions about the here and now. The people who make accurate decisions, they do so from a future perspective. Put them in the future and guide them to consider what might happen without action now, or even why to take action now. I'll demonstrate. And you got a big smile, Stan. You want to come on?
Okay. Yes.
Oh.
I'm a rookie, but
well, perfect. Okay. This is who it's for then. Dan, how long have you been doing this?
I started knocking doors 2.5, maybe 3 months, not very consistently. And I'm a foreigner, so English is not my first language. And I really enjoyed the job.
Good. I think you're speaking great so far. right? Every day you get to talk more. You're going to learn it so well that way, right? You're forcing yourself to talk every day.
Never know.
I think the foreign language and the not being as good at English is an advantage to you, by the way.
Yes, I use it as my advantage because people are giving me more time to convey the message.
It's only a disadvantage if you view it. So here's what we're going to do. You be the prospect for me, okay?
First, help me to understand what was the internal urgency.
Internal urgency.
Examples.
They are. You ask questions that get the prospect to come up with their own idea of why now. It has to be their idea, and when it is their thinking, like I have to do this or I should do this now, those type of thoughts will generate a feeling of urgency within them that they'll act out of, versus some external thing. It might be in conflict with their belief. Their belief might be, oh, I'll get a deal the next time. I literally have thought this as a customer, guys. Someone's offering me a hard close on a pitch. They're offering me some discount, and I go through this in my head. Well, if you're offering it now, there probably will be another offer later, and I'm not ready now. So my belief is contrary to your belief. I'm not going to act, right? What we want is them to find out why they should act now. And so we have to ask questions that get them to think why now is better than later. Consequence questions are great, and future
I'm gonna ask you a question after the role play.
Okay, so we're on the door. The best time to ask this is after they've already mentioned some kind of solution. So I'll be the sales rep, Stan. I'm gonna have you be the homeowner, and I'm gonna ask you a solution-based question, and then I'm gonna ask the urgent question, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so that's where we'll pick up. So we've been talking for a little bit, and I say, okay, so what would, I guess, if we were to meet and you could figure this out with solar, what would you want it to do for you that you're not getting now from the utility?
Well, I just received a letter with the rate increases, and I'm afraid of the future. I don't know what's going to happen in the next 3 to 5 years.
Okay. Okay, so it sounds like your concern is that the bills can keep climbing.
Yes.
So you're looking for a way to make sure that the bills never go up again.
Yes, and I'm afraid because the bills go up and my salary stay the same.
Well, Stan, you could actually get something like that, 6 months from now, a year from now. I think that'll always be around. Why would you want to look into it now, though?
Because I just don't want to experience another rate increase.
You don't want that? What would happen if you did experience it without having any protection?
Well, it's I know that I can prevent that, so me being not active to solve the problem is going to put me in a worse situation.
How worse? What do you mean worse?
I know that I can prevent the rate increases when I go solar.
Okay.
So why should I stay with it?
I don't know, Stan, if actually we can help you. There's a couple of things I'll have to figure out about the house. If we can, if the house is qualified and you are, we can make sure that your bill never goes up again. Would it help you to know more about that?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Why don't you go grab a bill? Do you get those online or in the mail? All right.
Online.
What were the questions? What was the line of questioning? Good job, Stan. Everyone, round of applause for Stan being brave with his English as he's learning. Go ahead.
I really enjoyed the NEPQ from Jeremy.
So what was the line of questioning there? What were the takeaways there? What did you notice? What was the urgency question?
What would happen if you did have another rate increase?
Okay, good. There was one before that.
You were saying like how you could find a solution for that in 6 months or a year, but why would you want to look into it now?
Yeah, I played into their side. I'm like, look, the fact is you could do that at any time. Why would you look into it now, though? And I emphasize now with the tone, my voice, everything focused on the now. Did you notice that? So then the thought that goes through their head is, why now? Yeah, why do I do it now? Because I don't want to experience another increase. Oh, you don't want to? What would happen if you did? Now I'm doubling down on it and helping them future pace to see what their life would look like if they did do something that they didn't want, which is experience another rate increase. Okay, super good. Okay, has this been helpful for you guys? Has this week been helpful?
Yes, all your
Heck yeah.
Subscribe to Transform with MindRx, the most cutting edge sales mentality on the market.